Hello everyone and welcome to hello everyone and welcome to tonight's tomato special. It's been a year already since the last one. I think this is the third one, and yeah, it's crazy that there's been 3 of them already. So I'm going to be really sorry, and I'm not going to go through everyone saying hello tonight. Mike, will you calm down?
It's only just started.
As soon as I talk, I think it's me. I'm not going to say hello to everyone in the chat tonight, only because we've got so much to do. So hello, everyone who's in the chat. I can see there's lots of you watching tonight. But if I did that tonight, then we could be wasting time because we got loads to talk about. And there's 5 of us tonight as well. So we're going to get straight into it. So hello, everyone who's watching and everyone who's going to be joining and watching later on. If you've got questions, can you please stick them to topic, to tomatoes or to feed or blight issues. Anything to tomatoes is fine, but we're going to stick on topic tonight because otherwise we'll go off on a tangent. And I mean, I've had 3 lives about asparagus so far, and I've never, I don't know why.
I don't know what's going on.
I've got a tomato variety called asparagus. Can we talk about that?
We can talk about that one. So I am prepared. Look at this. Look at this.
Ooh, he's the highlighter.
I know. And we've got pictures tonight as well. We've got Guess the Gardener. Yeah. Right. So hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tomato Special. We've got tonight Chris from Veggie Plot.
Good evening.
Robin from Robin Gardens.
Hi.
We've got Steve. We've got Steve from Dig with Green Fingers. And what's your other channel called, Steve?
Diggy Dishes Up.
Diggy Dishes Up. There you are. Look, see, I said I wasn't going to blooming plug that channel, but here we are. And Jane, your hair looks lovely, Claire says.
Thank you, Claire.
Do you know what, Jane, you're giving me like Charlie's Angels look about it, and it's washed. I knew it was something different.
It's been washed. It's not usually washed.
But you are giving me Charlie's Angels vibes. If you end up skating off down to turn the cooker off, I'll expect it. Troll just said I had all these questions about oranges lined up. Well, or asparagus. No asparagus tonight.
Orange tomatoes?
Orange tomatoes count.
That's
so,
okay.
I thought, Chris, I haven't actually spoke to you about anything you've got planned, or Robin, or if you've got anything planned. We're just going to go into it tonight and see how we get on. Charlie Jers.
Use that your tummy.
I think he's talking to
you. Hungry?
We forgot to say hello to Linda either as well. Hi, Linda.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Linda, I'm sure we'll be pulling you in between the live anyway, like we always do. So
I'm no expert on tomatoes, Danny. You just as well leave me in the background.
Yeah, all right. I don't know, Linda. You had some better tomatoes than me last year.
Oh, I did have a good few tomatoes.
There is a couple of varieties on your, Linda, that I know that you've grown, so we're going to be pulling you in later on. But you enjoy your banana in the background. Right, let's get started. I'm sure there's going to be quite a few questions. I'm going to try and keep them all in. Yes. Where should we start? Where should we start tonight?
My goodness!
Should we start off with a question? Should we start off with a question?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. What? Hang on, let me move this down a little bit. Is that too high for me? What are the best tasting dwarf tomato varieties that do well without growing to the point of overwhelm? Ooh.
Studies the list.
Does that dwarf tomatoes as in the house tomatoes, or dwarf?
What do they mean by growing to the point
tomatoes?
of overwhelm? Do they mean where they're not growing too much?
Too bushy, yeah.
So I would say house tomatoes. Like actually, there's a picture of those. I love house tomatoes, and I grow them every year now. I think Malcolm Kingswell was the one who started me off. I know AD. Have I frozen?
No, I haven't.
No, Steve has.
Oh, that's all right. Don't matter with him.
I'll come out and back in again.
I couldn't actually find a house tomato picture, weirdly, so I had to find one very similar. They go to this sort of size, and you can only get the seeds from real seeds, and they are absolutely perfect. Honestly, they're perfect for growing on balconies and in your kitchen and things. And I grow these every year. Malcolm Kingswell got me onto them, and I don't know where Steve's gone. I'm going to log him out a sec, and then he can come back. Hey, Steve, are you there?
I'm here, but my video's gone.
I'll kick you out, all right? Oh, thank God for that.
I got them from AD. I got mine from AD. His were called House, the dwarf tomatoes, and they look just like that. They're incredible.
You grow them.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Indoors. They're absolutely beautiful. Sorry, was that Chris?
People grow them overwinter indoors, don't they? Is that on your windowsill? Yeah.
Yeah. I would say my personal preference is house. I think they're lovely and they taste really good as well.
When you say house, is that just because you grow them in the house, or that's a variety?
Yeah, I think that's, but it is the variety as well. It's not like a house cat or a house hamster or something.
No.
I'm losing. Oh, there we are. We're back on the chat, so I'm hoping I haven't missed any questions.
I'm trying this one this year that Allie sent me. It's called a purple heart dwarf, and it's a smaller, less sprawling. But it's still an indeterminate. They say it's suitable for containers and has a well-balanced flavor, good for slicing and saucing.
What's it called, Robin?
It's called the purple heart dwarf.
Oh, you think I prepared this? These are
them. So that's another like house type tomato then.
Yeah.
I've not grown it yet. Allie was quite excited about it and sent me some seeds. So
I'm just thinking, because if that's indeterminate, I thought the house tomatoes that I grew were determinate because they grew bushy, didn't prune them at all. They just grew.
Just more bushy.
Indeterminate. Full and bushy. They keep going, don't they? And you prune them and you get the height. So, I don't know. So
I've never tried those before.
The house ones.
No, they're only the miniatures, the small, the dwarf ones.
It was my first time last year. I was amazed. And I thought they were so prolific. I thought that maybe the flavour would suffer a bit, but they're great. Really good.
Really. Yeah, I've grown them for a few years, and Adi did send me some, and also Latar as well, which I've grown before, both from Malcolm Kingswell's suggestion, but I know Adi does them as well. I think he did. Yeah, he sent me seeds last year, but I bought seeds this year because I didn't save no seeds from them, which was very silly of me. But hey ho,
I'm gonna have to go and buy some now. I can't be. I thought I got it now. Now you've made me.
Chris, I'm not even joking you. You can put them into a tiny little 9-litre pot. Yeah. And I'm not even joking you. I would say the size of the bush is probably the size of a lettuce, an iceberg lettuce. And they're so compact, but they're so sweet and they're so nice.
You grow them like a house plant, can't you? You can just grow them like a house plant.
Just nice sunny windows.
And said her house tomatoes went from up to 3 foot tall. Yours was a house. Yours was a skyscraper.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know, but I don't know where Steve is. I don't know where Steve's gone. He did pop back in, but his camera was off again, so I'm guessing he's having some technical difficulties. But yeah. So there is other questions about dwarf ones as well, but I'm gonna. Do we answer them now? I'm ducking around because I've foolishly put my camera right in front of the questions, which I don't know why I've done that. So the next question is. Can anyone recommend a good blight-resistant hanging basket tomato? I usually grow Cherry Cascade and Tumbling Tom, but the last couple of years they've been killed off early. I think Tumbling Tom have gone AWOL a little bit because I've not been able to find them as much. Have you, Chris? Have you noticed that, anyone?
I haven't tried Tumbling Tom. I mean, last year I grew Cherry Falls and a couple of others, and the Cherry Falls were extraordinary. I mean, they just cascaded down, and there were just hundreds of them, literally hundreds, off 2 plants admittedly, but they were fantastic. They're an F1, but they were lovely.
Yeah.
Jane, are you doing any tumbling tomatoes this
year? No, I've never had any luck with them, but I think that's because I just don't feed them enough.
And I think with Tumbling Tom, you have to feed, aren't they? There's a lot more water involved. I know Muddy Boots, Nigel from Muddy Boots. He does them every year. He uses them as flowers out in his front garden, and they're stood there proud. But
I mean, I grew mine in grow bags, which were up on a sort of a shelf thing, I suppose, a stand about 2 foot off the ground, so they could hang down, and they did hang down. I think a hanging basket would be a challenge to water. There's so much growth.
Yeah. Well, that's a good idea, that, Chris. Yeah.
Or some very tall pots. I've got some very tall pots someone gave me this year, and I'm going to put them in them. So,
well, thinking about it, mine, Latar spread. I don't know if anyone else has grown Latar. They're also from Real Seeds, Chris. and they spread. Not like spread, but I think now thinking about it, I might put those into a basket or something, because they spread about, I'd say, in about a 2-foot diameter on the floor. So they're great if you've got if you want to cover the ground a little bit, or if you've got a low tunnel, or you want to grow, you've got the mini polytunnels from First Tunnels, things like that, or a mini greenhouse. They're perfect there if you've got them in a big planter, and then they just spread it all over the soil. The only thing about them I find is that if mice and things come in, because they're so low down, they do have a little nibble and they do take a few of them as well. But I'm thinking now maybe they'll be good in the hanging baskets, putting one of those in the middle and letting it all spread out on the outside. So maybe I'll do Latarian hanging baskets this year.
Do you use those water gel things,
I've used those and they did work really well. I'm hoping though that that watering system, Chris, I've talked about before, that I'm going to be putting in the polytunnel, I've been putting it off for months. I don't know why I've done it. I've been putting it off for months, because I was thinking about the frost. And they contacted me this week and said, when are you going to be doing the video, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I've been holding back because of the fun. She's like, no, it's all frost resistant. It's all designed to stay out all wherever. And I was like, if I'd known this, I would have done. But I did say, our weather's not been the best. But I'm thinking, when I design it, I want to try and design it so that it can water the beds. But if I want, I can lift them up and put them into hanging baskets at the start of the season as well. So
are you not going to run a line up and along the top of the polytunnel with drip things down?
So because the polytunnel is built where there's a side rail all the way around of wood, I'm going to fit it to that, which is about, say, 4 foot high. And then I'm going to have long, smaller lines dropping down to the beds. But I'm thinking then I could lift them up into hanging baskets at the start of the season. and also they can start watering my strawberries as well.
Is it powered then? Or gravity?
Solar powered.
So it's like a pump to it.
Yeah, there's a big sump pump and a control box that you can connect to your phone, and you can change times and zones and things. There is 2 zones, so I'm going to do one zone inside for tomatoes. And the other zone for outside. I think it's for potatoes, but we're not talking about potatoes today. So, but yeah, that's the whole idea. It's going to water 2 sides. But
is that it's not going to drip though? Is it, Danny? Is it?
You can either. It comes with options, and they give you all the options in the box. So it comes with sprayers if you want. Now, I've never understood sprayers for a polytunnel, because that would be the worst thing for me, to be putting that much moisture in the air for the tomatoes.
That's what I'm thinking, with blight.
I think it depends what you're growing. When I worked on the nurseries, basically they would use sprayers, but that was generally for cuttings and for taking things. But they were herbs and things like that, so they weren't things like tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's the thing. When I first was going to put it in, I've just seen Claire's comment now about overhead watering and all. I've never understood it. I think if you were using blight resistant, but even then I'd be like, you're tempting fate. So I'm just.
They're not 100%.
No, they're not. And I'm sure we'll talk about that as well. But I think if I'd rather the water going straight, and I don't want to be wasting that much water all in the air, all on the side of the polytunnel. I want it to be going directly in the soil. And using that water as sensible as ever. But I'm going to be doing the video. I'm going to be doing the video in the next couple of weeks, I think. And I've also got this new. Chris, you're going to love it anyway when you see it. But I've got this new thing that's coming out into the UK. I bought it. But it basically it's another watering sort of gadget, and you can grow loads. No, I want to keep it for the video, but Chris, as soon as I bought it, I thought Chris is going to love this. So I don't know why you will want one, honestly, because or I think what you'll do is, which is what I thought, you'll want one. You'll think, I can build that anyway, and this is what you'll do. You'll be like, I'm going to get myself some pop bottles and some.
I like the idea of sitting in bed on my phone and saying, "I'll water the tomatoes, water the strawberries." That sounds good.
The thing I thought about is because I've been talking to them about the option stuff, because I do pay for an internet over to the plot for the cameras. And I was wondering whether or not I could have that as the link to my phone, and then I could put them on and off. If it was getting warm, I could put them on for a bit longer. But I don't want to avoid going there. But my pet is watering tomatoes. And I hate going in the polytunnel in the summer. Hate it. I'll harvest in the evenings, and that's it.
Yeah, I used to like it, but it used to take in the really hot days, it'll take half an hour to an hour, depending on how big it is, and then morning and evening, it's just a long time.
Robin, what about you there? Because I mean, we know it's baking hot, isn't it? It's baking hot. How do you manage? How do you water all that? Like, how do you manage doing that and keeping it all?
I water almost every day, at least July and August.
So what's it like then? What's it like now? What's your weather?
She got a little breeze. She got a little breeze in the air. That's about it.
Yeah, you're lucky.
There's about 5 inches of fresh snow from yesterday, and it's going to be -3 tonight, which is like -19 for you.
Wow, that's extremes.
I feel at the moment
it's pretty normal.
Yeah. My heat mat. I decided we're going to use the heat mats this year, and I've had to go back to them because the house heating is not germinating those seeds. It's just not. The house is just fighting it. So
that's the thing with tomato seeds. If no one's done it, is that you do need a bit of warmth to get them going. A bit like chili and aubergine, really. It helps. Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me, Chris. I haven't done my aubergines yet, and that's a bit.
No, I haven't either.
Oh, I have.
Jane Kelly.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
I will start mine far too late. I've really got to learn more and get on with it.
Yeah. You say that, Chris, and then you.
No, my aubergine's always a disaster. The tomatoes are right.
Yeah. We'll go back to the hanging baskets as well because Cherie Long has also said, "Is there anything special to do with hanging baskets?" Chris, you mentioned before, didn't you? Mentioned about the crystals that you could put in, those moisture retaining. But did you feel that those drip bags that you bought worked? Would they work enough for a week if you left them? Like, would they? No.
Well, you can change the flow, so you could have it last a week, but I think the tomatoes might die if it's really hot, So I think they're really good if you're going away for a weekend or 2 or 3 days. Then you can water them enough. But apart from that, no, they're not the best for long-term holidays.
That's what I'm saying. So if you went away for like a day or two and you were worried,
they'd be all right for that. Yeah, I did find I cut because it was in the hanging baskets. I used them for. I cut out some plastic from an old peat bag with a little slot and a hole in the middle, and I slid that around the tomato stem and had it covering the compost in the basket, and that really helped as well with keeping the moisture in, rather than evaporating out. I know the plant's taking up a lot, but that really did make a difference too. So anything like a mulch, I suppose it's just a plastic mulch, but you could put beads.
I'll try and get a picture up on the screen now of those. I don't know if this is the same system you had, Chris, but similar to these in there. It looks like a hospital. I mean, Robin, you've seen it before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I mean, to me, the only thing that put me off these was it would remind me of work. I'd be going in and I'd be seeing these and I think, God, I better check the drip and I better check that the drip rate is right. And I think, it reminds me.
A little bit of setting up, and then also you really have to use clean water. You can't dip it in your tank of water because they can block up. Yeah, I guess a dissolvable feed you could do, but
anything that would block it
blocks it up.
Yeah.
I mean, like now this year, I'm looking at them thinking somehow I've got to clean these tubes out. So I don't know. I would recommend them, but also environmentally, it's more plastic, isn't it? And if I get a year or two, it's not good enough, to be honest. So I've really got to try and clean them out and make sure I use them again.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about getting some, but maybe I will. I don't know. But if I do, it'll be a bit of fun. And then I'm wondering whether or not HR start thinking I'm stealing the hospital stock or something.
Yeah, you could do a nice line.
I was a bit worried. I thought, oh my God, they look very similar. So yeah, they do look like nice saline bags. So yeah, I would hanging baskets. They are a thing. I mean, with tomatoes, I'm a lazy gardener. Once they're in and I'm watering them and I'm feeding them, I think, God, you've got enough of my time. I'm outside trying to sort out the squirrels and everything else. I mean, Robin, I don't know how you do it, But I mean, if I had to concentrate on those hanging baskets a lot as well, it's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot.
I think what I would just think about hanging basket, it's quite an intense growing system, isn't it? You're not going to be changing the soil, you're not going to be mulching. So the main things you need to make sure is they've got the drainage, they're getting food, and they're getting water. So as long as you set up a regular system where you're doing that on a regular basis, they should be okay. But it's way more intense to grow them in an isolated area. So you've got to look after that area than you have if you've got them in a bed.
I kind of fell for it. I'm going to do this tomato tumbler F1.
Yeah.
We can't get them over here as much anymore, Robin. I was shocked when you give me the list.
Yeah,
Tumbling tomatoes are a thing of the past year. I don't know what's happened.
They were really popular, weren't they? I don't
really
know
popular,
what's
but I don't know what's
them.
happened.
I got sucked in at 50 days, 50 days, and I could be eating a tomato. So
counting down.
Yep.
Yeah, you want something which kind of ripens up, grows quick and ripens quick, don't you? So
but they are nice, Robin. If you can get them to go, they are nice. I like them. I mean, Muddy Boots did a whole video on it, Robin. I don't know if you've seen, and he does one all about his tumbling tomatoes and stuff. And he shows us.
He's
all
a very
that,
talented grower, isn't he? He's just very good.
Is.
Yeah.
It's just the protecting them that I got to work out.
Yeah.
Protecting them from what creatures?
Squirrels.
The squirrels. Oh my gosh. If you've ever seen some of my videos, Chris, squirrels are so my nemesis. But these are what I use.
Good idea.
The net bags.
We get them we can buy them, Robin, in Aldi's and Lidl's here, near the fruit edge section.
Bag. Yeah.
I don't know what
they work. They work well.
I've seen people use them for apples and pears and all sorts of things. Yeah. So tomatoes, it makes a lot of sense.
I have to do it on squash too because the squirrels just love summer squash, zucchini,
sweet corn.
That I wouldn't survive sweet corn.
Pauline's trying to get off topic here by saying what compost is everyone using for seeds. I hope that's tomato seeds you're asking for, Pauline. I use the same compost for my seeds to everything, to absolutely everything.
Whatever I've got to hand is basically it. Although Mike this year has bought some horticultural sand, and he's going to try just mixing that with our standard council compost, having a bit mix of that, and he's going to try growing seeds in that. So I've said I might start some off at the same time in just like, I don't know, a fancy Nancy compost and see who comes.
Jane, I remember last year, and I'm no one to wind you up at all, but I remember last year it looked like you sowed your seeds in the car park. The compost you used, it was dark in there.
It was awful, wasn't it? It was really.
Yes, and put it in. I thought, good.
Was that council compost? I don't think it was. Was it? Oh, you remember better than me. I thought it was clover or something. I think I brushed over it all because of the shame of the actual state of the compost. And they did really badly. So
do you sieve it?
Lesson learned. Well, sometimes.
Do not.
Depends. I do now. I think that one of the problems and you touched on this, Robin, in your last video, one of the problems I tend to have, especially at the beginning of the season, I'll use compost from the previous year, and very often it's got wet, the texture's terrible if it's not been particularly good compost anyway, so I think what I've learned this year is I'm just going to use that as a mulch and start fresh each year.
Here he is.
Oh my God.
Look, I can't see nothing, mate. I'm on the phone. I can't see anything.
That's all right, Steve.
What have you got?
We can see you.
That's good.
You've got a halo.
I'll play with it. Take me off, mate. I'll play with it.
Oh.
Pardon? The tomato life.
You better take him off.
This is a family friendly.
This ain't only fans.
Oh dear. So quite a few people have asked if anyone's started their tomato seeds.
I thought you meant starting the live.
But I know I'm not starting until early March.
Yeah.
Jane.
Yeah.
I think I did them.
But that's early for me.
Yeah, I did them March the 7th last year. I might try
early
March
to
the
mid
1st
March.
this year, but
I
haven't got heat. Well,
There we
I
go.
have got heat pump, but I haven't got lights, so it's not.
I'm starting end of February. Maybe some, but the house ones have started, but I've noticed that this shelving unit here is already full right behind me anyway, so I'm a bit worried that I'm going to be doing the same thing as I promised I wasn't going to do, and then have loads and loads of things everywhere. And
that's the thing, isn't it? Because this time of year now there's nothing, whereas in a month's time.
Well, in a month's time, there's 4 of these shelves all the way across the wall here, and there's plants, and I mean, you've got. If you're doing everything else and you're doing the loofah plants and you're doing cucumbers early, and I mean, I don't mind doing it, but what I think then is I've grown these indoors for 4 or 5 months of their life, and I think I got to keep these here till May. I may as well just grow them in the house, and then it's cost me about £600 on electricity just to grow a couple of tomatoes. But I'm thinking I'd rather have a later crop and so be it, and it's been cheaper.
And you do get a crop.
Yeah,
you get a massive tomato crop. Yeah.
Putting in a smaller plant, often they survive better and grow better than putting in a really large plant, even if you plant it in deep.
Yeah,
because
there's always the danger.
They'll grow to their environment, won't they? Yeah. Whereas one that's been mollycoddled, and suddenly it's a lot more extreme, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. You leave them in the pot too long, they can suck all the food out too, and you end up putting in a big, tall, sort of slightly yellow
leggy thing.
Never a good thing.
Do you tickle your tomatoes?
Sounds like Steve is.
I'm going to try that this year. I remember when I went to see AD last year, and he showed just an incredible array of tomato seedlings he had, and he was talking about tickling the plants. He said to stress them out. And I remember thinking, fancy stressing out your plants. It seems really cruel. But he's right. I've
done that. I've done that where you brush them every day.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to doing that this year.
Hang on, when you say brush them, you just mean just brushing the flowers?
No, just
the young baby plants.
The young plants, so that they
move them.
Experience the movement.
I have not got time to start mollycoddling like that.
Come on now. Your tomatoes need a good tickling. Honestly,
you know what?
They really do.
I mean, you don't need to do that. I just put the fan on and let the wind blow.
Same thing.
Does anyone else do that though? Because I've got an oscillating fan, and I put them on in here maybe for an hour or so, just to give it a good.
I do. I move the fan around from different directions. Absolutely.
I just tickle.
Stronger plants.
I never do that.
I think another thing that I'm doing I'm going to try and be better at this year is not over sowing. I just see now that Marvelous Garden just said the same thing. She just said her problem is over sowing, and I mean I've done it again. I've bought more seed things because these ones match the black. The container-wise ones, I just thought I don't know, I got green ones. But anyway, I'm trying to use these for everything now. But I personally think you could put 6 or 7 different varieties in one of those, really, couldn't you? If you just did them in rows. But we don't, we'll just put we'll be dotting out 6 seeds or 8 seeds in one of these trays because we think it looks nice. But I understand that it's easier to try and prick them out. But I mean, I personally think when you have trays and you think, I'm going to sow, you get overexcited about this tray. You know what I mean? I've sown one of these for onions, and I mean, there's about 600 onions in there now. And I just
do you sow one for the one you want and then a spare one? And then when you get 2,
I do 3.
You keep them both, where you should just get rid of one.
I do. What's that rule about gardening? Is it one for the garden,
one for the crow?
One for the crow,
something, and one
to let go, or something like that. It's something like that, isn't it, Jane? But basically, I grow 3. So basically, I'm growing one that will be successful, one that'll die, and one that'll give away. That's my rule.
And they all survive.
What they all survive?
It's horrible. Oh, you can't pick. It's like picking between your children, though.
Well,
and then you end up
no, it's not. It's easy to throat. It's the short one that's going.
That one's going.
I'm lucky though because Linda won't throw nothing away. So Linda's happy to have 6,000 plants growing over there, and I'll automatically space mine out in 3-meter rows because Linda will not. If Linda was put down onto a panel and said, "Look, you need to pick all these people to survive," she'd pick every single one. She couldn't do it. Linda could not do it. I'd be asking questions I'd be asking questions and then be like, buzz, 3 week gone.
Right, Ali's picked me up on something. Ali's saying I'm mixing up, brushing the plants and tickling the plants. Ali, I mean the same thing.
I can't see Ali tickling her tomatoes. She probably swears at them a couple of times and then they get on with it. They're petrified. They're petrified.
Yeah.
Shall we get back to tomatoes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Shall we show some varieties?
Yes.
Chris, let's start from you. Pick one of your varieties that you're sowing this year. And to God, then I've picked the picture.
Well, I have like a 10 favourites from last year.
I know, Chris.
Try and go those. So if I'll say
well, Chris, if it helps you, Chris.
Alice's Dream, Lucid Gem, Cuban Salami.
Shall we show Alice's Dream first?
Go on then.
Chris, if it helps you, I have got pictures for your top 10 and I've also got pictures of 6 of your runners up as well because
right.
I researched.
Did you
Alice's Dream.
Yeah.
Chris, I have to tell you as well, a little bit of copyright. Some of these pictures I have actually stolen from you. This one's not yours, but I'm just telling you.
I don't recognise that one.
What is that thing? Is that Bob Dylan? That's really...
What do you mean, Bob Dylan?
There's someone with a guitar on his shoulder, and I don't know what's coming out of his front, but I don't like the look of it.
Welcome back, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Can you talk?
I can talk. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I tell you what, Chrome threw up a wobbly, and it said Restream is not allowed to use your webcam. So I tried my phone. My phone came up exactly the same. Restream is a banned app.
I reported you. I did.
I rebooted again, and then whatever,
I would say Restream's got taste. That's what I'd say. We're just talking about Alice Reed. Chris, why is this one your favourite? This is your number one though for 2 years running, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Why?
Flavour, cropping, how healthy it is. It's just exquisite. It really is. I would grow this every year. Yeah. I think the trouble is there are so many. And you want to try something new every year, and every year you get this sort of more and more that you really like, and in the end, I need another bloody polytunnel.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I do really like Alice's Dream. Yeah. But,
Chris, I'm going to say Raphael Boo Boo, nice name. Has asked, can we, if we can, say how long does it take for him to grow from seed to maturity? So how long would this normally take? If you sow this now in March. When would you be harvesting these?
Oh, no, you've got me. I don't pay a huge amount of attention. I'm not a great detailed gardener. I'm more of a sort of
you'd be harvesting them
and enjoy it. But I suspect.
When do you normally harvest them, though?
June, July. It all depends.
Yeah, that's about right. Because a lot of my gardening shows are late July, August.
Yeah.
Right.
Apparently, it says here Alice's Dream tomatoes take about 80 days after transplanting.
Right.
I think most are 80 to 90.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They're a really good one. Yeah.
Determinates all come together, don't they, within 2 weeks? Whereas indeterminates grow over a month or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll ripen for.
What about you, Robin? What's your number one tomato for this year?
Oh my gosh. It actually is one that Chris suggested in his video, the Lucid Gem.
Ooh.
It is. It's low acid. It's got a burst.
It's low what?
Complex. Low acid.
Yeah.
It's got a burst of complex flavor. It's fruity. It's juicy. Oh my gosh, that is just.
That's my number two. That's number 2, I think, for 2 years running. Yeah.
There you go, Lucid Gem.
Now, I got the 2 of these mixed up.
They look very similar.
Yeah, and I know in the polytunnel I lost the labels, not like me. And so we grew one that did have a label, and it was Lucid Gem. Oh, sorry, we didn't know if it was Alice's Dream or Lucid Gem. So I've just collected the seed and labelled it as Lucid Gem, but it might well have been Alice's Dream. If anyone has got any Alice's Dream, I'd be very happy to receive them, because it was such a shame. Oh, that'd be great, Chris, because it was such a shame, because it was the first year that I grown them, and then I didn't know if I was eating them or not, so I need to know what they're like, because everybody rates them.
My Alice's Dream sort of a more sort of orange, stripy mixture of colours, very ornate, and then the Lucid Gem are this sort of thing. They're sort of more yellow, and then they ripen to more of a golden sort of.
Now, Jane,
isn't it?
Jane, I noticed on your list, you must be quite particular to yellow tomatoes, because you pick quite a lot.
Well, I tell you, because I haven't grown a lot of them before, and I was sick. Right. I don't know what they are.
What would you say? What would you say your top tomato that you're looking forward to, Jane?
Other than Lucid Gem and maybe Alice's Dream, the honeycomb, which I grew last year, again, it's an F1, and Shireen sent me the seeds, and then she sent me more seeds this year. I just thought they were incredible. And we were talking about dwarf tomatoes before. They're not dwarf tomato plants, but they are,
sun gold.
Oh, they're better than sun gold.
They are better.
So sweeter, so much sweeter.
Sun gold are very overrated, in my opinion.
I was just about to bring this up. I've named them the other way around on here. I don't know why, because the honeycomb are light. They're light.
Yeah, they're sun gold. They're sun gold.
But I find I was just about to bring this up with the sun gold. I thought sun gold were going to be the best thing ever, and then Robin, you showed me you've got a tomato that's similar as well, haven't you? Done this, haven't you?
So Tim's Taste of Paradise, which comes from Wild Boar Farms here in the U.S., that is just as flavorful as the sun gold. It doesn't split like the sun gold does. It's a little smaller. But it's just, Tim's Taste of Paradise is amazing. You grew them too, Steve.
Yeah, I have. I grow them every year. And
I got a feeling I gave Linda a packet. I think I gave...
Yeah.
Linda, are these the ones that I gave you as well? Or was it that... Oh, these similar to the Barry's Crazy Cherry?
You gave me a Barry's Crazy Cherry, didn't you? I didn't have one of those.
Oh.
They're not as sweet, are they, Barry Crazy Cherry?
Have you tried Santiam Sunrise, Robin?
Yes, you sent those to me last year. I'm doing them again this year.
That was what I was hoping that
Robin
was going to say. There you go.
I found them better than Tim's Taste of Paradise.
I grew Tim's Taste of Paradise last year, and I wasn't impressed with the taste, but they were from saved seeds. And I think that's happened before. Like when I did Brad's Atomic Grape, first year, absolutely brilliant.
Do you grow outdoors or indoors with yours, Jane?
Indoors, mainly indoors.
Now, every single tomato I grow is outdoors.
Yeah, so I think that probably does make them more flavourful.
It does, and I tell you what, my neighbour said, you put one of these Santiam Sunrise in your mouth, and your head explodes. It's fantastic. It really is.
Well, have you tried honey gold? Not honey gold.
Honeycomb. Honeycomb.
Thank you.
I don't know if you can see it. Somewhere on there is honeycomb. Hang on.
But that's incredibly sweet, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, there is. Honeycomb down there on my list of cherry tomatoes.
So I'm wondering now whether or not I should grow these instead, because I normally do honeycomb and I do sun gold, and I always put them. They're the first ones I put in my polytunnel. Whenever I grow, they're always the first ones in, because I don't class them as things that I'm growing, because they normally produce earlier as well.
Yeah,
and I normally have those. So when I'm going past, I just grab a couple when I'm walking through, and I eat. So they're not really for harvesting, really. They tend to be they're in the garden just for a couple of snacks or whatever.
Or chuck them in a salad. You wouldn't
chuck them in a salad. No. But
last year I snipped the tips out of mine and grew them on a double stem.
Yeah, no,
twice as many.
Yeah, I was talking about that the other day, Chris.
I'm going to do that for every tomato this year.
I do it all the time, Chris. I do it
everyone.
First year I'd ever did it.
Yeah. Every
I'm going to do
tomato
it for all
though.
of them this year. I'm going to do it all.
I do,
tomatoes.
Yeah.
You do, Steve, yeah.
There's this theory, isn't there, that a tomato plant will grow, say, 1 kilogram. But if you do 2 liters, it'll be 2 kilograms. They may be a little bit smaller.
Smaller, yeah.
Maybe a little bit smaller. Maybe.
Steve, hang on a sec. There's like an improvement to this app a sec. There you are. It's better.
Hey! That says it all.
That's much better. I've been waiting to do that all night.
Yeah, I need you like a third arm.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Again.
Go on. What about you, Steve? Right. What would be your number? Oh, Jane, was you going to say something?
No.
Go on, Jane.
No. What I found, if I was going to choose between honeycomb and sun gold, I can't believe I'm saying this. I would choose honeycomb because the splitting doesn't split. Sun gold, half of them.
I found the same thing last year.
Some people like the thin skin of sun gold, though, but it's so thin that as soon as you pick it, it splits.
Yeah.
I was watching them thinking, right, tomorrow is the day I'm going to pick those. And I come over and they've split. Or I think, right, they're ready. I take them off, Steve, like you said. I put them in the trug and then they split.
There's a big juicy.
You have to take scissors and cut the stem a little bit.
Yeah.
Steve, what about you? What would be one of your favourite tomatoes this year that you're going to grow? And hopefully I've got a picture of it ready.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
What do you want? Beef steak?
You pick one, Steve.
Beef steak.
Your fave.
Beef steak, my favourite of all time so far is pink brandy wine.
Oh, I'm growing that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
I haven't done that for years.
Fave seed.
My favourite cherry is a cluster cherry, and that's Reestamate.
Oh, never heard of that one.
Traveller's tomato. It's like a bunch of hemorrhoids. It's a big.
Oh.
Move along.
But you take a big bunch off; they're all stuck together, and you just peel one off at a time and eat them. Yeah, they're very nice.
Thank you.
What about a nice cooking tomato?
I'll send you a packet, Jane. I'll send you some seeds. All right.
Okay.
Again, sorry, Danny.
What about a nice tomato for tomato? Because I'm doing a lot of sauces this year.
Sauces, my favourite would be Amish paste.
Okay.
Or Britain's breakfast.
Amish paste. Now I've done those a few years, and they are lovely, but I never seem to have many of them, and I don't know why.
Oh, I don't. Well, do Britain's breakfast then, because Britain's breakfast, you can't see the green of the leaves for the fruits.
Really?
I did it last year. It was very productive, but I would choose Castelluto Genovese.
Britain's breakfast. No, they look a bit like a pear, really. They look a bit like the. Is this Steve? Britain's breakfast.
That's the sort of thing, yeah.
So I suppose they're all plum, aren't they? Mike in his polytunnel is doing a bed of tomatoes, and we had a bit of a conversation because I always do the tomatoes, and he said he's going to do a bed completely just for sauces. So he's gone with Roma, which we've done for the last couple of years. That's determinate, isn't it? Or I hope it is, because I didn't prune it. But there were that many, like you saying, you could hardly see the leaves. And the other one, I think he's going to do San Marzano as well. I don't know how you rate that one.
Yeah. Do you know what? I love San Marzano, right? But they take forever.
Yeah.
Steve, they are not one that you'll think, do you know what? I'll have them ready for the summer. They are ones that you'll be harvesting in September.
Tomatoes that are best for pastes or best for cooking.
Yeah.
And San Marzano's a round tomato, really.
So you aren't liking it then, Steve?
I'm growing it this year for the first time.
Jane, I would highly recommend it for flavour, for sauce.
Okay.
Trial. Oh, excuse me. Oh. You said Castelluto, Robin.
Yeah,
I grow that as a beef steak.
The Castelluto Genovese.
Yeah.
Looks nice.
It is. Allie sent those to me, and they're nice, fresh, in a BLT or something. But roast them and put them in a sauce or salsa.
Oh, sliced in a burger. Yeah.
And productive. Ooh. They're kind of accordion shaped, with the ruffly.
Yeah.
It's Consolito Fiorentino as well. That's even more scalloped, isn't it? That's quite good for cooking. Yeah.
No, for cooking this year, I think a majority of mine will be for canning. I'm going to do some for salads and things like that, but I think mainly I'm going to be looking at ready for the winter. And Jane, I'm going to be doing a San Marzano, but I'm doing one called Red Pear. I've done these before, and they were lovely.
Right. Okay.
They were absolutely lovely, and I'm doing them again this year.
if Danny sent me those seeds, they'd be upside down. There'd be fat bit would be on the stem, and the pointy bit would be at the bottom. I tell you. Yeah.
You know what? Danny wouldn't send you those seeds. He'd send you. It'd be a seed.
In Danny's defense,
I changed my ways this year. Annie got her garlic.
Yeah. And
in Danny's defense, you did send me a tomato called Heinz 1350, which I called Heinz 1348 and a half because it wasn't quite right. It is second in my all-time salad tomato taste.
Excuse me. Last year, the year before, it was first.
Yeah, they were nice. No, that Rose de Burn is my top.
I love it. Yeah, you did knock it off the chart. But I will say, if anyone wants a nice tomato for ketchups, for
it's lovely. It really is.
Heinz 1350 is rated. Is my
if anyone's
number one.
recording this, I want you to delete it. But Danny did send me a nice tomato. Okay,
there you are. Do you know? You know when he tasted it at the taste test, he went, "Oh, I'm gonna have to mark." I was yes.
That's the ones I like. It's the ones that go, wow, why haven't you tried me before? That's the ones I like. You know?
But if anyone...
Steve, in that case, could I have a couple of seeds of those as well, please?
I'm not sure if I'll check.
Only if you have. But Danny, what I was going to say...
I'm not offering!
Danny, if I sent you a picture of that orange accordion, which I'm not going to be growing because I didn't think the flavour was great, but I've grown it a couple of years. And
watery.
The size, but the size and just how it looks, it's just incredible. And I sent you a picture.
I was thinking about growing.
That's one of. Have you got the one of it sliced, just to show what it means when we say the accordion?
Yes.
I
think all the accordions all taste the same. Pink,
they are
orange,
quite watery,
blue,
but
yellow.
they just look. You can see how I mean, it's an incredible thing to grow. You know.
Yeah.
Pain in the backside.
But not for flavour. Yeah. But again, you don't get many of them per plant.
No.
But I think sometimes we grow things just for fun, just for a novelty.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked this hasn't come up yet anyway, but I'm not doing Brad's Atomic this year.
I'm not.
No.
And I'm shocked by saying that because I couldn't have rated them any higher. Yeah. I feel like I
think maybe the first generation are the nice ones. And when you save your own seeds, they're not very nice. Maybe they're really susceptible to cross-pollination or something, you know, because...
Oh, thank you so much, Carl.
As, tomatoes are true flowers, they pollinate themselves. Whereas I think Brad's Atomic, maybe the flowers are a bit exposed and it can get cross-pollinated easily.
Yeah.
It take a long time to ripen as well. That's what I always found.
They do.
And knowing when they're ripe. Yeah.
I can tell.
They are beautiful to look at when they're really ripe.
I don't know whether or not it's a nurse's touch, but I know just how they're ready.
I had the same trouble with all the black tomatoes, I tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Has anyone grown Black Beauty?
Yes.
Wow, funny.
Yeah.
How did you rate it? Because a lot of people really rate it, but
I have not saved seeds. Yeah, beautiful.
I did it 2 years ago, and do you know what? Whether or not it was a coincidence or not, I had a rat's nest. They came into the polytunnel, into the greenhouse when I was doing the grapevine plot. They did not bother with this tomato plant at all. They walked straight past this one.
Not red.
It's not red, and it's not. But,
I had real problem with those rats enjoying the tomatoes towards the end of the season last year. They were awful. Burrowing in.
A bottle of ketchup down for them, you know.
Yeah, well, I bought some traps and they did the job.
I did Black Beauty, very, very nice, and I did Blue Beauty, which is even nicer.
Blue Beauty.
Yeah. I did those last year, but I haven't got to see. I think these were from Ali. Is that right?
Yeah.
Looks like Ali's packet.
Ali's packet. Thank you, Ali. Yeah, and I've still got about 3. But the Blue Beauty as well. They just look incredible, don't they? And then when you've got people in your garden who don't grow tomatoes, and you just say,
one of Ali's packets. It's an Ali trademark.
Yeah.
We have a show every year in the local hall, and you know, there's a tomato section, and I'd make it policy never to put in a red one. And there's like all the trays are red, and I think they go.
And all the traditional guys are frowning at you. They're all frowning.
Do you not find? I mean, obviously I do a bit of showing. I find if you go off the beaten track, they mark you down a bit. They want to see perfect round.
They want to
tomatoes.
see a perfect round tomato. They want to see a gardener's delight, don't they?
Yeah, and when I do the plant sales down the village hall, it's always the money maker, gardener's delight, and things like that. They sell out within seconds. And brown boar, don't know about that one. Never that one.
The names, some of the names are
crazy.
incredible.
Yeah,
and I spent half my time telling them, stop. You got to try tomatoes by taste, not by what they look like.
Jane, you're doing the Grajovska as well.
Grajovka, they're brilliant again. Yeah, they're
from AD as well.
That's from AD as well. They were really prolific. Yeah, and great.
I'm going to be doing this year, I think.
Yeah, they were good. They were good.
Have anyone else tried these?
No. Nope, never.
Oh.
I'm sure
Susie put a comment up that she's looking forward to doing Rebel Starfighter.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's
really nice.
That's
really
one
good.
of Chris's favourite.
Yeah. Number
Starfighter Prime is a red one, and VT16 is the green one. And the green one is absolutely fantastic taste. Really
Rebel Starfighter. Look at that.
Yeah,
look at that. They are stunning.
That's
I'm doing those this year.
Yeah, they're big. Yeah.
So, Chris, tell us about Cuban salami, because you sent me seeds for those, and I am so excited.
Yeah, they were really, really good.
Robin, you are perfect. It's like you know what pictures I've downloaded.
They were number 3.
Well done, Robin. You're like Debbie McGee to what's his name?
Paul Daniels.
Paul Daniels. Well done, Robin.
I think it's the name, isn't it? Cuban and salami, and you think this is going to be good. It was number 3 in my taste test last year. It was great. Although one that didn't make it ripe in time was Summer of Love. I don't know if anyone's grown that before. But that actually pipped Alice's dream. Summer of Love. If you never get seeds for that, really amazing.
The one that I'm really looking forward to, sorry, Robin, is the P20 Beauty King. If you've got some of those seeds, Chris, I would love to try this one.
I have, and that was really prolific. It looks quite like Lucid Gem, but it's really good.
It looks like Lucid Gem, but I think...
some too, Steve. Chris Hansen.
No, you just
number 6 in my seeds. Yeah, if you visit my website, you will find that there are some seeds up there.
Oh, yeah. So what you're saying is we can't have them. But I was about to say, Steve, Chris, if anyone have you still got seeds available, Chris?
Yeah.
So if anyone does see some of these varieties that Chris has recommended on Chris's website, which I'll put a link to as well, veggieplot.co.uk, is it, Chris?
Just UK.
Chris, there's actually veggieplot.uk. Chris also has them all on there available as well. Oh, Chris, are you still doing that thing where if you buy the calendar?
Yeah, you get 10 free and
get 10 free if you buy his planner. Where is his planner?
I 10 calendars left, so yeah.
Can I do a quick shout out as well while we're doing this then?
No, can I just say something, because it's Chris?
eBay.
Also,
there we are.
I might just want...
Chris.
Look
at this.
Oh, look at this. Look.
Thanks, guys. I love you all.
I mean,
it's not signed, though, Chris. It's not signed.
Do you know what, Chris? I was very disappointed that you did not have the ego to sign your products. Jane Kelly would have done it on each page.
Yeah.
Next year.
No,
we got a ghostwriter to do it for her.
Yeah, there you are.
Now,
can we go back to the
eBay has kept small sellers like me in the because they're now charging buyers 75p to buy from private people. So my seed sales have dropped off the bottom of the earth, and as you know, my seed sales are for charity.
Yeah,
and there's about 10 different varieties on eBay at the moment. Digwell Green Fingers on eBay. So have a quick look, buy them if you can. It all goes to charity. And
I will say, Steve, I do buy from you
I know you do, buddy. Yeah,
because it's for the. Go on, Steve. Tell them why you do it.
For the air ambulance charity.
Yeah,
and they've helped me in the past. They've helped my daughter and whatever. Fantastic. So what can I say? Yeah,
Steve, I think you need to stop sending your daughter out to see. That's the problem.
You what? Sorry.
You need to stop sending your daughter out to see. That's the problem.
I know. Well, go and get run over again and see what happens.
If she's anything like you, I mean, she's a great foghorn.
Yeah.
Right. So, Chris Garden and Allotment Journey has said, who has bought the seeds? More importantly, who has started them? Well, we haven't started. None of us have started yet, have we? But
I bought them. And I've been given some.
Raring to go.
Robin, thank you very much.
Yeah, Robin.
Really appreciate that. Yeah, I got
yes,
some lovely
thank you so
seeds
much,
from you.
Robin. Because I mean, between you, Ali,
I've got
Kerry,
my
Dog on
tomato
the
too.
plot, and also the right pear plot, and God, I've had so many seeds that I'm now at the dilemma where I was like, who do I
Yeah, I started making my list at the beginning of the season, and then Robin sent me like 1 million choices, and now I'm like, oh my goodness, I need another polytunnel.
Yeah.
Who keeps them?
Can we go back to the?
Sorry.
Go on.
Can we go back to the Summer of Love?
Ooh.
1969.
It was a summer of.
It was described on the Wildboar Farms website as an improvement of the Berkeley tie-dye. So, Chris, have you done Berkeley tie-dye and Summer of Love?
I have done Berkeley tie-dye, pink Berkeley tie-dye, yeah.
Berkeley.
And that is a really good and prolific tomato.
It's American, it's Berkeley.
Yeah, Berkeley.
Oh. We've got a picture.
Woohoo!
You do like the stripes, Chris?
I do like a colourful tomato.
Yeah.
Not red. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for sending those seeds, Chris.
You're welcome.
I got a feeling though that someone sent me these as well. Was it you, Robin? I think.
Which ones?
Someone have sent me these seeds, or maybe it was Chris. I'm not sure.
I sent you Cherokee
Might
Carbon.
have been.
Yes, and I'm looking for. Do you know what, Robin? I struggled.
Can I just do a quick reply to Andy, who's put a question up? Was it Purple Starfighter? It was Rebel Starfighter, and it's Rebel Starfighter Prime. Prime is the red one. VT16 is the green one.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
That's okay. I'm doing the Rebel Starfighter as well. That's one of my favourites. I'm going to be growing this year.
Oh, lovely.
Chris sent me pictures of those, but also Ali from the
Ali as well.
Plot as well. I think Ali from the right pear plot sent me as well.
They're such a stunning prolific. You see them grow on the vine, and they're just big and great bunches, and they're just amazing.
The funny thing is, when I had the two growing next to each other, and they both looked the same until the prime started going red.
Right,
and the VT16 started showing black streaks.
Really?
But why they call them Rebel Starfighter, I don't know. It's just a name, isn't it?
Joe Piggy Allen has said, Chris, that wrong one. The screen's going up quickly. I know you use this as well. So I used Niall Radford this year for the first time. I try and buy from different people, and they arrived 20 hours later. I was really happy.
Yep.
You use Niall's as well, don't you?
I have done. Yep, definitely. I'm not this year because Robin sent me all.
When you first said it, I remember watching a video once before, and you went, and this seed I bought from Niall. I was thinking, Niall Gardens is selling tomato seeds now. I thought, what's this boy doing? But then I worked out later on that it wasn't.
Yeah, Niall's really good, and there's also who are the other guys who send some red packets. Tomato Chris, Revolution.
If you give me a list of those two, Chris, I'll put them in the description as well, so that people can go over to Niall's and. I've had used Tomato Revolution as well.
I've used them before,
Do you not think that a lot of the tomato varieties are just made up for the sake of making them up?
Yeah.
And, every time.
XYZ is the same as ZYX, and
because they all know that we're like magpies for tomatoes. So if tomorrow they made a tomato, right, that didn't really taste that well, but it did green star shapes on it, we would all go out and buy that. And we'd be like, and Robin at the end of that post office sending them straight away to do a grow along.
Well, they're like 10,000 varieties, or something, isn't it?
And of the 10,000, Chris, I think of the 10,000, I think 8,000 are probably disappointing.
Yeah.
It's
likely.
Yeah. Danny, as well, you've got that. I think I sent you a photo of the basket or a truck of tomatoes just to show the different varieties.
You just want to brag, you do. That's what you.
No, not at all. Because it was just a few, but there's very few red tomatoes in there.
Yeah. Because she's got a truck. That's what it is.
No, it's actually a old wash. But
it's just so beautiful. The Barry's Crazy Cherry, Jane.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
They were bland. They were very bland.
They were, but the way they grew, though, they did just. Every time you walked in, you went, "Oh,
Centiflora, isn't it they called?
They got botrytis for me. Oh,
wow!
Really?
I ripped that out so fast because I didn't want it to spread to anything, and thankfully it didn't. But boy, it was covered.
I did a tomato taste test with my friends and put them on the spot last year.
You haven't gone in your liar.
No, and they did the berries crazy, and I told them what it was afterwards, and one of the guys said, Paul Swanee, he said, Barry must be bloody crazy to grow these. They taste
I think they're prolific, and I think if you're growing to give a lot away as well to friends and stuff, and they're not really massive tomato fans, they're perfect to put in a trug, aren't they?
Yeah,
like because they would be happy with them. That's what I mean. They'd be happy for them as a tomato.
Yeah,
you know? I think they're a novelty. I think they're just
they
novelty.
are. Yeah. They are.
I think they're like, wow, look at that! I've got to grow.
I know.
Yeah, they're more about quantity over quality, in there.
Is it called centifloras, something like that?
Because
they've got hundreds on a branch.
Yeah.
I've got one more this year, but I can't for the life of me remember what the name is. It's on here somewhere, but I can't remember what it is. So I'll let you know in August.
Also, you're just picking on these lots of little tomatoes, and then you think, I've got 2,000. What do I do with them?
Yeah.
So this is one that I am crazy excited to try. The Principa Borghese. This is the one that's an Italian heirloom that is really good for dehydrating. Right. Very meaty. It's a determinate.
There you go, Robin. I've got a picture up as well.
I had a friend up in Door County, and she said they are very good for a salad tomato, less juicy. And I thought, oh, well, yay, because I was just anticipating they'd be for dehydrating.
Mm. Well, funny enough, someone's just asked now, what's the best tomatoes for roasting? Steve, what about you? Like, what would you suggest? I chuck them all in. I'm not fussy about roasting. I mean,
I think any ones that are quite dry already.
Yeah.
Have you ever
not
tried,
very watery?
Have you ever tried striped stuffer?
No.
That's one I grew a couple of years ago, and it's sort of plum sort of shaped.
Sounds like a promiscuous zebra to me.
You just chop the top off, and you can just the seeds grow a bit like a pepper, all in this middle bit with no flesh around them.
They lift them,
and you just hook that out, and then you can stuff them and put the top back on, and they're really good. They're tasteless.
Wow.
I would say for roast
the flavour.
Thick skin, thick flesh, don't you?
I'd say for roasting, I like the canning ones. I'd say because there's more flesh than seed, and you don't want to like a salad tomato, which is quite watery, because you're going to end up with loads of water.
It's a big mush. It's all squashed down to nothing, isn't it? Yeah.
But you know
I think
what?
I would go back to Castelluto Genovese. They were awesome roasted. You know, when you eat the Castelluto Genovese too, to me, at the end, it kind of has a little salty kick, which is unusual.
Yeah.
Sounds lovely, yeah.
How do you roast? Well, if I'm roasting them, I'll just put whatever.
With onions, with courgettes, garlic and
olive oil.
A little bit of olive oil, and I put it in the oven for 2 hours.
Olive oil or avocado oil. I always put onions in there, and I always put garlic in there.
Yeah, it's
so same thing.
Good. I made the mistake though, and it's only the last few years I've got my head around growing tomatoes for particular purposes. So growing for freezing, growing. I remember a couple of years ago I did dehydrated all my cherry tomatoes, and I cut each one in half, and it took forever to fill the trays, and it took even longer to dehydrate them because they're so watery. But I tell you, my goodness, they were sweet. They were so. I mean, they were tiny. They were like little raisins at the end, but you could. They were just incredible. I won't do it again. But
no,
it's
the best.
I do a quick tip for dehydrating. If you're dehydrating and you slice your tomatoes to dehydrate, always put them on greaseproof paper or parchment paper. You put them straight on the dehydrator rack, and they will stick. And you'll have all this nice little lattice of your dehydrator rack, all stuffed with pieces of tomato. Put on a bit of paper, get the initial drying done, and after 6 or 8 hours, turn them out onto the proper rack. That's what I found.
That's interesting. Right. That's interesting.
Linda's telling me off because we haven't played Guess the Gardener yet. So should we play Guess the Gardener?
Oh my goodness, 8 o'clock.
It's that time already.
Yes.
One quick thing. To your point, Steve, I don't have one quick, but I have a silicone sheet with a little bit of an edge that goes in the dehydrator. That's marvelous.
Perfect. Yeah.
Isn't that going to stop it the air getting around both sides, though.
No, because the air dries it off.
It's It's well, I have a 9 tray. It's huge, so
okay.
Yeah, the air's.
I'll tell you what, if you've got a Ninja air fryer, they've got a dehydrator setting.
Yeah, my 15-in-1 is, I think, 9-in-1 is as well.
It actually uses less electric than a pucker dehydrator.
Oh, really? Because I was going to buy a dehydrator, which I was still going to anyway.
Ninja, you can't. It's there behind me. Oh, there it is. There it is. Up there, look.
I can't see him. He's hiding. He is in the ceiling.
No, it's just a blooming big private chat thing in front of me. There it is. There, look. Behind me. There.
Hang on. There. I can't see it.
Right behind Steve.
The two
I knew you were going to do that. I just knew it.
But it's got a dehydrator set. And I'll tell you what, it dehydrates tomatoes in 7 hours.
Oh, I'm going to try it then,
quick.
Steve.
I've got it set in 7 hours.
I've got a tomato, so I'm going to try it tonight. Yeah. Let's play Guess the Gardener. Cue the music.
Tony.
It's a national classic now. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
So this week's Guess the Gardener is... Who is it?
We can't see a picture.
I know I haven't put it on yet, Chris.
Oh, you think
so this week's Guess the Gardener is... Is this... It's not Steve Digwell with pigtails.
Oh, come on now. What a lovely picture.
Beautiful. It's not Tony before you all say, oh, you are the first Tony just come out.
Bethan.
It's a girl.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the elephant. Sorry. Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Nelly the elephant.
Right, let's think of time frames here. It's black and white.
Wow,
but that dress is very late 60s, early 70s.
God,
probably.
Jane, I'm waiting for Claire from the veg plot from the farmyard garden.
She'll get it anyway.
Is it Robin? Is it Robin?
Claire's not getting it this week. Are we going to break this?
I was Audrey. Is it
Have
Audrey?
you been Robin?
I was last week.
Okay.
Is it Audrey?
Oh, it could be Audrey. It could be.
No idea.
Can you blow it up at all?
I think we've had Ali, haven't we?
I could go a little bit bigger.
Oh, that's better.
Steve, before the change. Yeah, thanks a lot, mate. Jason, yeah. That's you getting a bad spud in the challenge.
I finally beat Claire from the farmyard garden. And do you know, she's had about 5 or 6 weeks in a row. This one is, though, once you see it, you'll go, oh, my God. How did I not know that was Chris from the veggie plot? How did I not see it?
I thought about sending you a picture, but I've never had that much hair. So
was Christopher now Christine, or was Christine now Christopher?
Yeah, times change.
Yeah,
don't know, no idea.
Steve, you were gonna kick yourself when I show you this.
Maybe Bethan.
Chris is gonna kick himself because. It
actually
is a Christine. It's Christine from the Little Green Shed allotment.
No.
And there's Steve saying maybe it's a Christine.
Reveal.
There you are.
Thank you so much, Christine, for sending in. I'm glad that.
Oh, maybe we'd have got it if it had a little fox. If she'd had a little fox instead of the elephant.
Instead of an elephant.
The ponytails have dropped a little bit. Yeah.
No.
Oh, Mike, we don't want to hear about your new pond, Mike.
Oh, Mike's off the football tonight.
Should we try?
So did anybody walk into a garden center
every day,
look at the seeds, and get sucked into a tomato this year?
No, I've stayed away.
I've not been yet.
Yes, I have.
What did you get sucked into?
Bonnie's Best.
Oh, nice name.
Yeah. Well, my best friend's mum's called Bonnie, and that was what I first got. And then I turned it over and thought, ooh, this one's starting. Steve, have you heard of this one before?
No. And George Best played for Northern Ireland.
It's
no idea.
It's more of a salad, but I'm going to use it. It's not. It looks like a salad tomato, but it's actually more for canning. And I'm going to be growing it this year, and hopefully, it'll be It'll be a good one. But yeah, I'm doing Bonnie's Best. But I'm also doing my hounds. And I'm also doing Crushed Heart. Because I'm a sucker for Crushed Heart. I just like the shape of them. I really do get a cat. I mean, how lovely is that? What a name for it. You know, they couldn't have called it anything else. Well,
Are you sure that's Crushed Heart? It looks like a Brad's Atomic.
You know what, Steve? I was just about to say.
Probably is.
I would say this could be the Chad's Atomic Grape because me and Steve invented a new variety called what we call Chad's Atomic Grape because it looked just like this. Yeah. Steve, I'm wondering though whether or not those seeds might have been across from this and a Brad's Atomic.
I think they probably were, mate. They weren't everything they were hyped up to be, that's for sure.
No, not at all. Should we do a power round of questions? I think we've already done this. Go on, Robin.
Wait, this is the one that I got sucked into.
Oh, that's a beautiful cover.
Robin, there's no such thing.
It's a trio
I love
of
those pictures on
cherry
eBay.
Tomatoes. And the only one I really had heard of was the chocolate cherry. There's also pink champagne and mango apricot.
It looks
the
don't
pink
know what
champagne
you're getting until you grow them.
Yeah, the pink champagne has a Brix of 9.5.
They'll all grow on the same vine.
No, three plants.
Yeah.
What's a Brix? That's
Sugar
new on me.
level.
The sweetness.
Oh, really? Okay, so what is it normally?
Good question.
What's the highest, Steve, on a Brix?
I don't measure it.
No.
But a 9.5.
I've never heard of it.
Sweet.
Or me.
Okay.
You can get a little refractometer that you look through. You put a drop of the liquid on it.
Oh, I've seen
There's a
Hugh
little
do that.
scale, the needle moves up and it tells you the reading, but that's for real professionals, that is. You know.
Like Robin and Chris. That's why they're at the top and you lot are down the bottom.
Yeah, because I was so scientific
still
about how
don't
I
know the
chose
answer.
these. I saw it on a rack.
Speaking of tomatoes, has anybody harvested any tomatoes this week?
You have, Steve.
Ooh.
Oh,
Show the class, Steve. Show the class.
And there they are.
Just in your hand.
Are those golden hour?
You've had them in there for about an hour and a half.
I know, they're defrosted now.
Are they supposed to have the
They're
black spots?
defrosted
though?
now. They're outdoor tomatoes.
Yeah.
Golden hour sent by either Robin or Ali. I can't remember who it was now.
It was
And they've
me.
been growing outdoors all winter, and look at them, fantastic.
Are they supposed to have that little black mark on? Or is that frost
Yeah, they
damage?
grow, and it grows out as they get older. The yellow grows out, the brown grows out.
There you go. So you can grow it
But it-
all year round.
Yeah, there's one, and he just got a big zit on one side. Look. So, yeah,
Let's try and get some questions out of the way because we've got. Oh God, Linda's good. Honestly, Linda's admin skills.
Jane is
today.
so impressed that she's fainted, look, and dropped off.
Linda, I think since we're answering questions, Linda, we don't need you right now to be looking for questions, so we'll answer some and you can join in, Linda. Hello, Linda.
Hello.
Nice to see you on
I'm
here.
no tomato expert, like I said. I'm going to keep
Linda,
putting the questions in. Yeah.
You had good tomatoes, and I will say this before. I had Claire from the Farmyard Garden on you once before, and she didn't like tomatoes, and she was still on there. So you're all welcome. Hi, Chris. Oh, God, I nearly left. I nearly cancelled the live. Hi, Chris. Can I sow micro or sow some dwarf types now? I will sow them over the weekend, then the beefsteak. Mel's Vegetable Garden, there's a full panel here, and you're singling out Chris, the specialist. Chris?
I would say yes, you can. If you've got lights and some warmth, yeah. I would say you could definitely sow tomato seeds now.
Yeah,
But I'm not going
my
to.
house. I've started my house ones only because they're not leaving the house, so I think why not? You know,
Lots of people have started them now.
I could put a few in my hydroponics, but I'm not going to because I want to get some more herbs in them this year.
Yeah, you do need light. They're just going to get very, very leggy if you sow them and you've got no extra light. You know, then they're just going to get very leggy. That's presuming you're in the UK somewhere. You know, obviously. I
think we've already covered this one, but I'll put it on the screen anyway. What are your tomatoes are you looking forward to growing? Which we've answered. What tomato is your stock tomato, which is always reliable? Heinz 1350 for me. What's your main reliable one? Not for prettiness, not for. I thought about growing like a farmer's delight as well because I feel like my friends, like you said, Steve and Chris, about they don't want those fancy ones. I found that whenever I've given those to people in the hospital, like my friends and staff, they look at me like I got 5 heads and I'm trying to give them an orange accordion. They're not happy about it. Their children are not going to eat them. They want to have some cherry tomatoes or a salad tomato in this. So I'm thinking
If they close their eyes, they'd love them.
They would, but 99% of the population and people who aren't gardeners and YouTubers, we're the only ones who appreciate tomatoes this much. Have you ever seen anyone walk into a supermarket and go, oh, the tomatoes?
I'd liken it to walking through Tesco and the salad tomatoes there are Gardener Delight or Moneymaker.
Yeah.
The normal tomatoes. The Tesco's finest range that are on the vine, they're a bit nicer. They're your more specialist ones. You know, they're the ones that I tend to grow anyway. So.
I think the thing with the supermarket tomatoes, red ones, is they are bred for uniformity and longevity, aren't they?
Longevity,
they're not really bred for flavour, and no wonder most people really don't like tomatoes, and my kids hate tomatoes. But if you can grow a red tomato which is packed full of flavour, which is as we can, then
don't forget
you're going to be a winner, aren't you?
Those supermarket ones were on the turn in the cargo ship.
Yeah,
about a month before they got to Tesco when they injected the ethylene gas. You know.
But when you do go into a supermarket, I mean, I don't think it's ever happened when I've gone into Morrison's, but when you do go into a supermarket and they've got some different colours, and I have seen them in supermarkets, so you might get the yellow ones.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen the black ones. I'm just amazed, and I think that's really good. But like you say, Chris, they need to grow for profit. You know,
I mean, Waitrose. Not that I ever really go and shop in Waitrose, but occasionally.
Don't act like you ain't one of them, Chris. I can tell by your posh calendars.
It's always Marks and Spencer.
Don't buy his calendar so he can carry on his Waitrose in a cargo shopping like Steve.
Yeah, you will see heirloom tomatoes in Waitrose in the summer.
I
and
bet
they're
you will.
all shapes, size, but they're
Marks and
so
Spencers.
expensive.
So expensive.
They're ridiculous.
I remember going in Marks and Spencer's last year, and the beefsteak tomatoes were £1 each.
I think though.
The thing is,
they're expensive.
They know that these F1 whatevers will grow 22 tomatoes on a truss.
Yeah.
Whereas the heirlooms will grow one, maybe two if you're lucky.
Which I get it.
Yeah.
I think if I give my friends them, I remember one guy, I gave him a truck of tomatoes and stuff, and he went, too pretentious. That's the word he said about the tomato. I gave him some nice colourful ones, and he went, too pretentious. He was very thankful for him. He did say, my children are not going to want to eat those. So I learned from the next time. He was very grateful, man. He wasn't ungrateful, but he just said he knows what children are like. And his wife won't either. His wife will only eat red tomatoes.
It's like purple cauliflowers. I'll go a bit off top. Purple cauliflowers, purple beans. You know, they just don't look so.
Chris, you're asking for questions. You're about trolleys.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. People do want what they are used to, don't they? That's the thing.
Later in the season, though, I'm hoping you might have done this already, Steve. You might have done it, Chris, but I'm going to be doing a blind tasting.
What do you mean? Hang on, what do you mean by that?
No, because I'm going to be doing a blind tasting with Mike and trying to get the same variety of what's in the supermarket. I
did a blind tasting last year, and I've got so many fork marks in my face. I'm not going to do it again.
But to have one from a supermarket and one that you've grown yourself of the same variety, and just to see if you can spot the homegrown one. So same variety, but can you spot the difference? You know, it'd be interesting to see.
But we know the answer, though. You know,
but if someone stuck a blindfold on you and
you know the answer if it's not a blind tasting, but maybe blind tasting.
Yeah.
It's like you were saying, though, Steve, about how they come on the ship and they're just barely ripe.
Yeah.
But I've heard, I think it was tomatoes, that they actually pump a certain type of gas in around the tomatoes, ethylene, to ripen them.
But the tomatoes need to be on the turn. If it's a red tomato, they need to just be starting to go pink. A green tomato will never ripen fully. It will always be green, but it needs to be on the turn. I can't remember the term for it now. It needs to be on the turn, and then ethylene will work. So
that's where we use the trick of like putting them in paper bags with a banana or other fruit. Really
works really well, doesn't it?
No impact whatsoever on ripening tomatoes.
What does that?
Sunlight.
No.
Sunlight needs. Tomatoes do not need sunlight. Once they're at their age, and the calyx at the end of the tomato with the little leaves on it. Once the little ball expands, that seals off the tomato from the plant. and then the tomato fruit is on its own from then on.
That's why you can pick them. You can harvest
That's
them.
when you can pick them. And if it's October and you've got some tomatoes just going, you think, oh God, what are they going to take them off the vine as soon as you can?
Yeah.
And if you're in a high blight area and you don't use JBA blight,
Steve, you can talk about it if you want. Cut
your tomatoes off when they're going pink, because they will ripen and you will not know the difference in taste.
I've ripened loads in a brown paper bag with a banana, and they ripen lovely.
Yeah. Have you seen those new tomatoes? Well, they're not new; they're really old. But I think from Italy, which basically you harvest at the end of the season, and they slowly ripen. They'll last all through winter. Just hang up.
All right.
Yeah,
as a
I've heard of that. They'll last 3+ months.
Wow. What tomatoes are they, Chris?
I don't know. I saw them. Remember? Am I allowed to say where I saw them?
Is there a channel?
I think she grows veg. Basically, Lucy grows veg. She did an interview of a guy. It was someone in America, I think, when she went to a show there, and there were these huge trusses of tomatoes, which basically just hung up in your kitchen, and they'll just slowly ripen and last ripe for months.
No, I'm not gonna. I've got a bugbear with she grows veg. And I'm going to say, nothing wrong with her or the chat or her company, but I've just personally found that a lot of there's never enough seeds in the packets.
Price.
And
how many seeds do you want?
Yeah, exactly. How many?
Tomatoes and all that, I agree with that. I bought a pack of carrot seeds and they were about £4.50 or something for the packet, or £6, whatever it was. And there was 10 carrots in there. 10 carrot seeds.
Danny.
Was that those really long Japanese ones?
No, they were the little stubby things. That's why I didn't even get my money's worth. They were only about this big.
The thing I've heard, Danny, is just the value for money, the price in general.
I grew them for novelty, but I will. Another thing I've said is that some of the things I feel like the vibrancy has been tuned up a little bit to make them look more appealing. So I found
her photography is
the packaging again. You go for that, don't you?
And I grew I can't remember what I grew, but it was supposed to be like a sort of like a pink sort of lettuce sort of thing, and it was a lettuce. There was nothing about it at all, but. Yeah, but
you're going off topic, mind.
Yeah,
I know, but if you do, what I was saying is, but if you do like quirky sort of things, then it is perfect for that. Steve, do you want to talk about that blight guard, because you normally talk about it?
I've used. I mean, I know I'm not sponsored by JBA or Jameson Brothers, whatever they're called. But that stuff, I've used it now for 3 years, and I have not had blight. And all my plot neighbours have had blight. They've lost their potatoes.
The Garden of Emma, if you're listening, I seen that you're in the chat. This is the stuff you do want. She did ask.
It's really interesting, Steve, because you grow everything outside.
I grow everything outside, so nothing indoors. As you know, outdoor stuff gets blight before indoor stuff.
And you can spray that on the tomatoes.
Sorry,
you can spray it on the tomatoes. Not
yeah.
It's to eat.
There's only like 24 hours eating time between the two, And if you do it as it says once a week. After really heavy rain, and what I do, I use it's not called Blight Watch anymore, it's called something else, Blight something website. It tells you when blight's due in your area. I spray 1 day before the blight's due. Before I get a blight warning.
The only thing
you gone funny, Danny.
It's not chemical, it's natural, but it cannot be called organic.
Okay. I have thought about it though, because I thought, Linda, that might be something that might be good for you, because you're in the middle of the allotment site, aren't you? And
I've just written it down.
I thought you're right. Hey, Lynn, do you want to go half sleeves? Because I'm not happy to pay £20 for a bottle.
Well, it depends. So now, how many tomatoes do a bottle do, Steve?
All for yourself. Look, it's not the feel-good garden.
Hang on now. Let's ask the expert, Steve. How many tomato plants does it do, would you say? I've
used the same bottle for 2 years. I grow 40 plants a year.
Linda, chuck us a Panda bottle full of it, will you, love? Panda pot bottle, that's all I do.
I did a video last year. I grew 2 tomatoes side by side. One I sprayed, one I didn't, and the one I didn't got blight.
How many tomato plants did you have growing, Steve?
Sorry?
How many tomato plants did you have growing?
I grow 40 or 50 varieties a year.
Oh, right. Oh, we could go halves then, Danny.
Oh, now you want my dollar.
And potatoes as well.
We can't talk about potatoes. Yeah, it works on potatoes as well.
It works on potatoes as well.
Same family.
Okay.
Same family.
It's very good on
You're right,
potatoes, but don't forget the potatoes are a bit later in the year, maybe.
Yeah. Garden of Emma said the question is blight higher risk in the greenhouse or polytunnel? Well, yes, because of the humidity, right?
But only if it gets in.
I think it depends on airflow and so on.
Yeah, airflow. That's the main thing.
And I've seen people, Jane, I'm going to bring this up with you actually because I was a little bit worried I'm not picking on you, Jane, I promise. But I was worried about when you mentioned a video ago about when you were going to put that tree in the polytunnel and shut the back door of Mike's. I'm worried about that door being closed.
No, we can still open the door.
Yeah, but the door opens inwards, doesn't it?
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
I checked the hinges before I brought it up, Jane.
But we'd give the door enough room. I don't think I'd open it fully. Anyway,
yeah.
I mean but I think the thing is, you could have two. Like, say you've got a 6x4. No, let's say you've got.
Oh God, I've opened a can of worms here within there.
If you've got a 10x8 greenhouse and a 10x8 polytunnel, but you've only got 4 tomato plants in the greenhouse and you've got 40 in the polytunnel, the blight risk is going to be greater wherever they're closer packed. I don't think the fact whether it's glass or plastic is going to make any difference. It's still just a seal. It's just a sealed area, whether it's plastic or glass. I might be wrong, but it's more to do with the spacing and the airflow you have around them.
Yeah,
I think if you do grow in either, you'll be better off anyway than outside generally.
You have to have the space, don't you? I mean, Tony's saying there it's all about airflow and spacing. He's got
he got an aircraft hangar.
He's got about 20 acres. I've got about 10 by 20 feet. You know, so you got to grow them to get close together.
If
I didn't grow them close together, I'd grow 2 tomatoes.
Yeah, I think this is the thing about the lives as well. Sometimes people think we're not suggesting you do it. We're just saying, well, we're doing it. And
it's what works for you, isn't it? It's what works for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, what are the best type of tomatoes for outdoors and not in the polytunnel or greenhouse, or how best to grow tomatoes outside? Oh, hi, Mark.
Ask Steve.
I grow all mine outdoors.
Yeah.
I haven't got an indoors to grow them in, so I just plant them in the ground and grow.
Are there anything you can't grow then, Steve? That
every
that
tomato
like
I've got. This is all my tomatoes. You can't see the list, but 95% of those are indoor tomatoes. I grow them outdoors. Oh.
Right. Okay.
Hang on.
Hang on, Steve.
Oh.
Hey. Yeah.
Hang on, Steve. I'm going to take a screenshot of it in a minute.
It's a bit out of focus, buddy. Hang on here.
Mine's just pixelated.
Hang on. Move it over a bit.
Here we go. Steve.
Oh, right, I'll read them to you. 2 seconds, right?
Get on. We haven't got a 3 hour into a live.
Oh, Ace. It looks great. British Guardian, bit brown and black boar, blue beauty, box of Revolution. They're nearly all indoors.
Oh, thank God he's gone.
Crimson Blush and Crimson Crush are good outdoor ones, aren't they?
You doing one of those? Are you doing Cocktail Crush, aren't you, Jane?
I don't know whatever I said before. Don't ask me again because I've forgotten now. But no,
I did Cocktail Crush last year.
Is that one of the blight resistant ones then?
It is.
The Crush.
I didn't like Crimson Crush. I thought they were a bit flavourless. I
grow Crimson Crush to sell only.
Crimson Blush are nice. They're the
Crimson. We grew Crimson Blush in a polytunnel, and they were beautiful. And they were really big too.
You were nice.
They were nice. They were like beef tomatoes. A Crimson Blush.
I didn't know this either, mine, but Burlesque is also a blight resistant as well.
That's what
Don't forget when it says blight resistant, it only means the fruit is blight resistant, not the plant itself.
I'm going to be doing Nagina as well. That's a blight resistant as well. But they say this is the thing, though, Steve. They say the tomatoes are, but you've
only got to leave one. You've only got to let one volunteer grow in the ground, and it's going to grow with blight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Burlesque.
A lot of the Crimson range now are losing their resistance because blight is mutating very fast. Same as these Sarpo potatoes. But can't talk about potatoes, sorry.
Yes. What tomatoes?
We did well with our tomatoes in the polytunnel last year, but the year before, do you remember, Danny?
Well, it goes on to this question, Linda. Carry on.
Right. The tomatoes were full of blight, wasn't they? We went away on holiday, come back, and we just lost the lot, didn't we? They were lovely and healthy before we went away, and when we come back, they were just destroyed.
I'll go a second, hang on.
But we didn't keep the doors on the polytunnel open, did we? Do you remember? We didn't keep the doors on the polytunnel open, and that.
No, Linda.
But last year we did.
Linda, I'm going to stick up for you here. I'm going to stick up for you here. You wanted to open the polytunnel. Doug didn't.
Yeah. No. That's right. But last year, I took your advice. I left both doors open.
And you had fantastic no blight
tomatoes.
I think people worry about it because people worry about if we shut the doors, we'll stop the blight going in. But it's not about that.
Not that.
You keep it. You need to keep it all nice and dry. And I, especially when blight season. I've said this many times on the lives before, and it works for me. I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just saying it works for me. That as soon as I hear this blight in the area, is normally at the end of the season for me anyway. I stop watering. I literally stop watering my tomatoes at all because I like them to concentrate in flavour anyway.
About 2 weeks before the end. That's general rule.
Or what I do is I remove some of the compost, I water, and then I push the compost back over that's still bone dry, and I'm keeping all that moisture in. And that's what I don't want it all evaporating. And you've got to try and keep the moisture down as much as you want. And a lot of people think, oh, I'll keep a watering butt in there and stuff like that. But it's those things that they're good, but you've got to make sure, like Chris, you've got yours sealed, haven't you? But I've seen people have watering barrels in the middle of their polytunnel open. And that's literally evaporating all the time.
I think if you keep the door shut, you're just going to get a very humid atmosphere. And if there are any spores in there, they get on the moisture.
Honestly, God, I went into Linda's the year before. It was like Bombay. It was.
They can get so warm, can't they? They can.
So
and that's
warm.
usually good.
Go on.
We grew ours in halos last year, so we were only watering in the halo.
Sponsored by Beyonce, they were.
And that worked really well.
Yeah, that worked well. I mean, as long as you're not splashing the leaves and you're creating a lot of moisture.
And I mean, we've all done that when we first started gardening, didn't we? Nobody who thought about blight and things like that when you just used to first start growing things. Nobody did. I used to spray all the foliage on every thing in the garden because I think, oh, that looks nice.
Give it a nice clean.
Yeah, give it a nice little clean all the branch. You know,
Can I just say, as far as the blight goes, it's worth, if you're growing tomatoes in the UK, it is worth downloading the Blight Watch UK map. And I'm just looking at it now. It's National Vegetable Society Blight Watch thing, and it's just really useful to keep an eye on the blight.
And also, area. While we're on the subject, there's also one as well for like chickens as well. So if you've got, I know that's off top,
avian flu,
but you can have text.
They don't get blight, do they?
No, chickens don't. But you can get texts to say that blight is in the area.
In the area.
In the area. I get them all the time for Abbotsford West and all that. I think I've no idea there, but anyway. Yeah. But I'll put this on the screen now as well, so that hopefully I can make this a bit bigger. Hopefully. And I hope you can see this. So this is quite a few varieties. I thought it would be helpful for you to see any diseases that you could have.
So
recognise any of those?
No, I was going to say I don't know any of those.
Don't act like Jane. Don't act like you've never had a big daddy. Don't act. And a summer girl, Chris.
Sun Gold's on there. I didn't know that was down as a disease-resistant tomato, to be honest.
Well, yeah, apparently so.
Mountain Magic is pretty popular here.
Mountain Magic is really popular with you. I grew those, Robin, and I had no problems with blight and all, but I didn't feel like the taste was there as much as but I feel that maybe I didn't water them outside. I didn't feed them outside as well, so I might give them another go.
It's not always blight as well, is it? I mean, there's this big thing about blight, and it is bad. But I think who was it? Was it Tony? I'm allowed to say that. Tony, basically, his whole tomatoes got wiped out, didn't they? I think that was because he was using
The quad grows, wasn't it?
Quad grows or something. And
there was a lot of moisture inside
that wasn't blight, I'm pretty sure, but that wiped everything out. And that's again another thing. Fusarium or some
and this is the thing. This is what I was going to buy some, and I'm thinking, no, Danny, you're trying to keep the moisture down in the tunnel. Please try and do it.
Different things, you know. That's okay, but
if you don't want things to get into the tunnel, what you can do is, rather than you can have your doors open, but you can put in some sort of netting mesh panel, and then you'll still get airflow.
But Linda, you've seen them, as soon as the last frost comes in my polytunnel, they don't get shut at all. And then I do not shut my polytunnel until right at the end of the season, when it started to become the rainy season. I never shut them at night and stuff like that. I think if you've got the Clear at the family garden, she can just pop down in her wellies and her nightie, and she can shut the doors up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, but it's just at the end of the garden.
In your nightie, Chris.
In your nightie,
in my nightie and my slippers, pink with hearts on.
Yeah.
But yours were beautiful the year before last, though. No, 2023, wasn't it? Your tomatoes were beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been downhill since then, because last year I damaged my ribs, didn't I, Linda? Then I couldn't plant them in there because I was behind. Then I took the tunnel down a month too early. I've been thinking about it, Linda. I probably could have left it up. I could have left it up a bit longer.
Yeah, you'd have had an extra month.
But never mind. Never mind, eh? This year, I feel like this year is going to be the year for me for tomatoes. The tunnel is there, the roll-up blinds, the roll-up ventilation, double doors, irrigation that's going to go straight in the soil. I feel like I'm trying to...
that side ventilation that you've got on that tunnel, that's so good.
Yeah,
I've not seen it. I'm not, and this is not a thing where, Steve's saying, Lenny, I didn't know he left. I didn't even realise he's gone. Steve, I didn't even realise he was gone. I put the tomato in the way. I thought you were still behind it.
Yay! Amazon at the door. Amazon.
I think that I've not seen another YouTuber with the roll-up, but I know
it's a good idea. I wish
I've not seen it yet. I've not seen it, but I wish I did.
Talking about all the different diseases, when you get American or Canadian, North American packets, they tell you all these resistances on the packet, and that's why you see the Roma tomato called Roma VF is vermiculite fusilium resistant. Roma VF. That's exactly what it is.
I wondered what that was. Okay.
I think that is probably the only tomato in the UK that has rolled over to tell its disease resistance.
To the VF, yeah.
So Chris from Chris Gardens and Allotment Journeys has said, what tomatoes you growing this year after last year's disaster? Like, is there ones from last year where you think I'm going to give them another go, or is there any that you've scrapped off? Like we've mentioned Brad's Atomic, I've scrapped them completely, and I've said like, there's no more. Like I've given Brad's Atomics too much. Is there one where you think I've done it for a few many years now, I'm not doing any more?
I had my probably worst year ever last year outdoors, and of the ones I did harvest there just weren't so many of them. I probably won't bother trying those again. I don't think there was any outdoor ones on my allotment. Sorry, not at home. On my allotment, I probably won't bother growing those again. So.
Tony's saying that he has roll-up blinds on his. No, Tony, you have portholes. That's what you have on the side of yours. You have portals with a roll-up. But you know what I meant. I mean a first polytunnel with the full sides. So I am hopeful that this is going to help. And if it doesn't, I'll be honest and say I won't say that it worked if it didn't work. I don't think it's going to be a godsend. I don't think it's going to change the whole... ventilation, because I feel it's just going to help a little bit, because it'll help cool. I think that's what it'll do. It'll be more ways for air to.
Well, don't forget, 35 degrees C is the maximum temperature for tomatoes. After that, they start inhibiting growth. They get stunted.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not.
They just stop, don't they? I think
I'm not telling you, but I've actually thought of something that I'm going to do to cool my tunnel down. I'm not telling anyone on there because.
He's bought a heat pump.
Oh,
2,500 quid.
Sponsored by Heat Pump UK. No.
Can I just? I'm picking on you, Tony. I'm not picking on Tony, but I'm interested in something that Tony said.
Oh, here we go. Hang on, Jane.
No, I do this. No, Tony says he's got windows cut into his polytunnel. Does that mean
in the side?
You've cut them in the side? I'd be absolutely terrified. How can you do that, though?
I think it's below the rail, isn't it? Sorry.
I don't know that. I think ours hasn't got a rail that
They're
low.
They're built into the tunnel when you buy it.
Right.
Some
Okay.
have a
So,
rail
he hasn't
halfway
cut.
down.
Yeah.
What's this now?
Well, that's what Danny's is like, I think, isn't it?
Well,
Danny?
that was the reason. That's the reason why the roll-up thing was incorporated. It was never the plan. I wanted to have a wooden rail going all the way around, and then just have the plastic going down the sides. And then that's when they come back to me and said, "Why didn't you try this?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, that's even better because that's what I feel."
Yeah,
like
don't go cutting a porthole.
I know. I was thinking because it's so tight.
If it goes all the way down, don't do that.
Yeah.
I personally think though that all polytunnels that are built like from first tunnels like that should have that wooden rail going all the way around, because I feel like it's handy for lots of things. Because when you have those polytunnels just poles and plastic, it's very hard to try then when you get there to hang a hook up or do this or put some wire. You've got to be using cable ties, and it does always looks a bit messy. But I'm glad that wooden rail's in now. It's 3x2, and you can run irrigation round, and you can clip things on or little shelves if you want that way, because it's limited. And I feel like
tomatoes, not bloody polytunnels. All right, some of us can't have polytunnels. You know that.
Oh.
Fair point, Steve.
That's fair point. I feel like we've answered this as well. What would be the best tomato to grow outdoors? So we have covered that one. So which tomatoes do you recommend? Chris Garden Allotment Journey has asked, which tomatoes do you recommend for beginners? Chris, have one, and then we'll ask Robin, because Robin, you're very quiet there, because I feel like we can't bloody shut.
Do beginners have polytunnels and greenhouses?
Pretend they might have a greenhouse.
I don't know what would be really good for a beginner. Is just do it. Get your feet in the water and just do it. But for years and years,
or things like that.
For years and years, we grew Cherokee Purple. It is a delicious tomato. But then I just gave up on it the last couple of years because you got to babysit it really hard because it's a toughie. But now I bought this one that's a cross with Cherokee Purple and Cherokee Carbon. It's supposed to be, more robust. You're growing it too, right, Danny?
I am. Thank you, Robin.
Yeah.
I actually found this is the one that you do it. So it's called, what's it called, Robin? Cherokee
Carbon. It's a hybrid between two heirlooms.
I'm looking forward. Thank you so much for sending this, Robin, because I'm looking forward. Because I like both. So if this can be an amalgamation of both, I'm going to be very happy with them. So I'm actually giving these 3 slots in the tunnel, and that's a lot. That's a prime amount.
Any tomato you can buy in a garden centre is going to be easy for beginners.
Yeah, I would say like a money maker or gardener's delight or things like that,
and that sort of thing.
Because they grow, don't they? And you'll be happy with them.
That's the problem.
Are they going to be happy with the fact that
why have I bothered?
I don't think
happy that it grows, or they're going to be happy.
I don't think for a newbie you want to be doing accordions and you want to be doing the big mammoths and all that, because you're going to be like, I've got 3 of them and now I'm not happy about it. I think
wouldn't some kind of a grafted variety from
the
nursery be a good choice?
Michelle's Kitchen Garden Diary has brought up bush tomato, because then you don't have to prune
bush tomato,
So your maintenance is down to a minimum there, isn't it?
I grew Uluru ochre last year, and they were delicious, really nice, really big beefsteak, sort of ochre yellowy coloured. But as a bush tomato, but basically they were mad. Literally so much foliage, and they got blight really easy.
Oh, going back to the airflow then.
There was just no airflow, and it was in a greenhouse. I might have grown them a bit too close together because I thought they were only going to be about 1 foot or 2 tall, but actually they grew to about 3 or 4 foot. So I think got to give those plenty of space if you do decide to grow those.
Yeah, I suppose.
You still need to do bottom pruning and stuff like that, don't you?
Yeah.
Any sort of
I did, and it helped.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, Jim's raised. I'm going to try and get through some of the questions because we're literally over time. We're not over time, but I mean, I expect this one to be a bit longer, but I'll try and get some of them done anyway. So, I know Danny loves the Heinz tomato, but did Robin, Chris, or Jane, or you, Steve, you were new when this question was sent, or Steve? You've done them, Steve, and you liked them.
I loved them. They were my favourite tomato. They really were.
What about you, Jane?
I only had the one seed.
And didn't grow. You grew in that car park compost, are you?
The rest of the stuff was
it was. I thought it was okay. It was just okay. It's not one that I thought this is really memorable.
Jane, nonsense.
So,
I won't have it.
You probably got the Heinz 1348 instead. Yeah.
Maybe no, but I think it's interesting.
Chris, I think you should try it.
The same
honestly,
variety. Yeah,
tomato.
give it a go because it just shows we're all growing in slightly different.
Steve, tell the truth though. When you cut into it, you think normal tomato, don't you?
Yeah.
But
Stick
when
it
you
in your
taste
mouth, honestly, your head explodes, and it's
like,
I can't
honestly,
say the word orgasmic, but
you literally go, like it's got that.
It blows up in your mouth, you know.
Honestly,
no,
there's
I
a
must have had
reason
a
why they
different
use
seed.
it. I think you probably end up with something else.
He sent you a gardener's delight. That's what it was.
He probably did. Just the one.
I've never grown them, Jim, by the way. No.
Yeah.
But I might have to try them.
I think you should.
Try
Robin,
them.
I'm not sure if you can get them there. I'm not sure.
I've never heard of it. I don't know if I can or not.
There's basically the same variety that Heinz used to make their ketchups and their soups, and that's the reason why. I mean, Heinz is a very famous brand, so if they're using that tomato, there's the reason why they're using that tomato, because they're dense and they've got a nice flavour.
Before they found the right one.
Yeah, I feel sorry for 13.
Still sell the other ones. There are still versions around.
I feel sorry for Heinz one. I really do. He never had a chance, Heinz one. Let me tell you now, Linda would grow Heinz one just to give him a chance, wouldn't you, Linda?
Yeah.
Well, not now. I know it needs to be 1350. I'd be looking for the 1350 now.
Linda, don't bother. You can have some of my seeds. They send me about 3,000 of them, so you can.
You're lucky, Linda. You're pretty close to them.
Linda, I'll just give you one of my spares.
I'm not going to ask. I'm just not going to ask.
Yep.
It's just.
I'm not.
They'll just
send you
I've decided now I'm not posting any seeds unless I meet the person at Malvern or they're a stone throw from my house like Linda is. So it's like, no, I've been getting better though. I'm going to ask now. Can nobody ask any more questions because we're not getting through them all. I feel really bad. So
Lisa just said something there. Heinz weren't very good last year. But a lot of tomatoes weren't very good last year.
Yeah, I wouldn't take that. Yeah. I think it was just a bad year for us, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a funny year. Every year is challenging, you know.
Has anyone struggled to get certain tomato seeds? I've had to buy some midnight snack ones from the US. There's none in the UK. Oh, we got a Robin and an Ali. We got a Robin and Ali. Lisa, you haven't lived. Start a channel. This is what you get.
Yeah, I don't.
It's hard, though. I mean, I tried and tried to get those Cuban salamis, and I couldn't. Thankfully, Chris sent them to me.
I think I was after ananas noir, was that? And I couldn't get them anywhere.
Before. Yeah.
But then, ananas noir. But eventually I did manage to get them.
There is a different name for that as well,
I know, Jean. I know.
I'm just having a look what else it's called. It was called something
else. Yeah. Well, it's black.
It's called black pineapple tomato as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The same variety. So
it grew very profuse and beautiful looking thing. I think that's what sold me, but flavor wasn't that great. So not growing.
I liked it. I liked it. But I gotta be honest, I put a lot of those into the canning, so they were okay for that, I suppose. Is everyone growing their toms in grow bags, the ground, the polytunnel, or the greenhouse? I think all. Chris, you're probably doing all of those, aren't you?
Grow bags, definitely. Not outside in the ground. No, I won't bother anymore because of blight. Polytunnels and greenhouse, definitely. Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I'm grow bags and ground only.
Steve, what tomatoes do you recommend for pizzas?
Pizzas, little tiny round ones. Don't get don't get the tomatoes that you've got to cut through when your pizza slicer goes through them. Get ones that you can avoid. Get ones that you can avoid. Small, thin, inch diameter, I suppose. Yeah.
Like it was cherry.
Cherries are always good. Yeah.
Robin,
I'm hoping those Principal Borghese dehydrated will be nice on a pizza.
Yeah.
If only someone could send me some.
You've just said you've got so many. You don't need any more seeds.
could always do with one more. No, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. Honestly, God, I thought, I'm only doing 10 varieties, and I just wrote the list down before you, not realizing what I'd done, and I'm at 20 again, and I said,
no, I've got 46.
Yeah.
There's
How
25 in the
polytunnels
bag, Danny.
you-
I can share.
Robin, how do you, I'm going to ask you this question, Robin, rather than everyone. How do you preserve your tomatoes after harvesting them? What's your best method?
I dehydrate them for snacking. I make salsa. I make sauce. And last year I had a really good with the cherry tomatoes, just freezing them and then throwing them in all kinds of stuff that I was.
Gemma does that. She made such a thing about just chuck them in a freezer bag and put them in the freezer.
Yeah, we did that with some tomatoes.
Those little
my tomatoes, Linda.
They were actually.
I'm then going to get a tin of soup from the supermarket, and she said we had a lovely soup yesterday.
I make tomato soup and freeze it too. That's great. Little Tim's Taste of Paradise, pulled out of the freezer, throw them in a little omelet. Wow.
Lovely.
Once you've dried them, get a bunch of them and make a powder out of them in a little coffee grinder.
I've seen people do that with the skins, Steve.
The skins, seeds, all of it. I'll tell you what, you chuck a teaspoon of that into anything, Italian dish or whatever.
Beautiful.
Blow up the flavor.
Amp up the flavor,
yeah.
Michelle's Kitchen Garden Diary said, when creating a tomato bed, what would you add any fertilizer before planting? Well, I just
with any new bed, I'd put in, whatever you
good
can get.
Compost.
Really, good compost, horse manure.
I put rotten manure in the bottom.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the idea is though that once that first truss comes, doesn't it? When you've got those tiny little baby green tomatoes, start feeding weekly. Then, Steve, do you reckon that's what I do?
Start using a high potash or whatever it is, potassium, whatever. Yeah.
But I definitely say, if it's a bed that you've used over and over, then I definitely be feeding that maybe a week or two before, if you before you plant and stuff. But
do you ever put eggs in the bottom of the hole?
Oh, I've thought about doing that.
Some people I've seen people do it.
Fish.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I feed every 7 to 10 days a liquid feed, but I'll tell you, I did put this one out because the CalMag.
Oh yeah, you love that.
No blossom end rot since I started.
That's just calcium and magnesium, right?
Right. No blossom end rot for me.
You need to use both together because the tomato takes up both of those chemicals in the same quantities. So if you overload magnesium, which people say to do with Epsom salts, then it can't take up any calcium and you get blossom end rot.
Yeah. And I always find with aroma, that's the issue I have with aroma is blossom end rot. They're renowned for it. And also there's another one that I do as well that it's an absolute, I think it's the Amish, is it the Amish paste maybe? Alice's Dream, I think maybe was another one that, Chris, there was one that you mentioned that had that kept having blossom end rot on your top.
I did get some in the greenhouse.
Lucid Gem. God, look at this.
It was Lucid
Gem.
Gem.
Even wrote it down. N-Rot, Lucid Gem.
You had so I went away for a week or something, and they weren't.
Shame on you.
Quite as much.
Shame on you, Chris, for having a life.
That's why I use the Nutrigrow fertilizer because it's in two parts, part A and part B, and one part's got nitrogen and calcium, the other part's got all of it. And once they go in the hydroponics or in the soil, they don't interact with each other. If they were kept together, they interact, and one cancels the other out.
I think the key is little and often.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
It is. And as Tony says, root cause is down to watering. So if you get your watering right, you won't get blossom end rot. Anyway.
Yeah. Manuel Stoyanov has said, did anyone try rugby? Well, when I was in my younger years, but
I used to get headache.
I hurt my ankle in the end. My favourite in allotments, friends, I have to try them and want the seed every year. I've never heard of them.
Never heard of them.
Gonna look for that one.
What are they like?
I bought my wife. Oh god, I should have read this first just in case. Some eagle seed tweet. Oh wow, Linda!
Oh, no tomatoes.
Start them now.
Start them now, Tom. You broke the golden rule of the tomatoes. Don't you dare anyone break this rule. This have slipped through. Linda, I think
Sorry,
I think it might be me.
I couldn't have
Linda.
read it first. I do apologise.
I think that might have been me. Start your sweet peas now, definitely. And this is the tomato special. Not the asparagus or sweet peas. No, it's that no. Once my vine is touching the ceiling of my polytunnel, and I reckon all the toms are there and green, how much of the foliage can I take away? Now, I do this naughty. I take a lot.
Yeah.
I'd be taking the foliage off way before they get to the top of the polytunnel. As they grow,
I'd be taking them as I'm going, but at the end, honest to God, it'll look like the Grinch's Christmas tree. Honestly, Charlie Brown's Christmas tree by the end of it. Honestly, I've stripped it to about 4 or 5 leaves on the top. It looks like a
this is why, and what Chris mentioned earlier, double leaders. You can get twice as many plants off fruits off one plant.
Chris, do you want to just briefly explain how you do that, just in case other people haven't got much space, or they want to try and maximise the amount of crops they can from one vine?
I don't know if Steve should be the one answering this, because Steve does it every year. He's the one who's done it.
I'm not asking him. He's had more time on this live than he should have.
Well, when the young tomato plant is growing up, and you've got about 3 sets of real leaves, then you can take out the central stem, as it were, and then you've got two branches coming out, and then you can train them out up canes, or strings. So you've just got them going up. So really, it's only a little bit of stem coming out of the soil, and then 2 stems. So yeah, in fact, maybe
bit like a fork. Then you just fork it off.
Yeah, it's quite strong. Some people do 3. I don't know about you, Steve, how you do it, but that's
I've done all sorts. I've let some tomatoes grow.
Well, you was in the Navy, Steve. You was in the Navy.
Yeah, I've let some grow on their own, and they just as good. Bit smaller.
Could you do it just by not taking out the first side shoot? Just leave the side shoot.
Yeah, cut the main leader out and let the 2 side shoots grow.
That's it. Yeah. That's
you basically top the
side
plant.
Shoots will come out.
Yeah, once you've got a side shoot growing, or 2 side shoots, cut the middle out, and the 2 side shoots grow into the 2 new leaders.
Stormzy Garden to Cooking Diaries has said, what kind of toms do you grow on a windowsill? We did mention, didn't we? I'd say like house tomatoes or the little small bush tomatoes. You don't want anything trailing, but try house from real seeds. We are going through. We got 2 left, I think. No more questions, everyone. 2-cup method of sowing versus sowing and potting on. What are your thoughts?
I don't know it.
Or me? I don't know what it is.
I don't know what the 2-cup method is.
2-cup method of sowing.
I have seen someone do that before, where they have 2 cups and they plant it, and then they raise the cup up and they put more compost in around. So as the stem gets taller, they're putting in more to make more root. But
I've done that.
And
I might not be right.
I've done that.
Of course you have, Robin.
It works great, actually. It worked great.
I also do that thing. I showed it last year, where where you can have a tomato plant and you purposely then you tip it when it's a bit leggy. You tip it to one side and then you let it naturally bends back out, and then you plant the whole long part plus the root across the bed.
I have a video on that.
I've done a video on that.
Trench growing. Down.
Last question is best automatic watering setup for tomatoes in a polytunnel. Only have IBC, no onset water or standpipe.
I'd go for gravity fed, but
I think mine might be too technical just for that setup, I think, but the video will be coming out soon. But I also got that irrigation system that I got as well. That works really well. Steve, didn't you buy one of those?
Irrigator, they were too noisy. My neighbours complained.
Get on, you want a dicky one?
No, mate. I'm in a terraced house.
I was lucky that the 3 plot holders around me, they all said we're deaf here anyways. We can't hear nothing.
The house, 2 o'clock in the morning.
I would say the irrigate. Go on.
As I say, you can get like a battery operated, just a couple of AA batteries and a timer, and basically plug that onto your water container or IBC, and then the timer will come on once, twice, for however long you want it to.
You've got a video on that, haven't you, Chris?
I have. It'll open up and the water will just flow out. But that's what I find. Then there's no solar to worry about.
Danny's got the perfect solution as well. He's got the nursing drip feed bags. They're fantastic.
They're good.
Yeah, we did talk about those. Yeah,
I've used those. Yeah.
Someone did that just before.
Go on. Have I missed the question?
Just very quickly. Can you take seeds from supermarket bought tomatoes and plant them?
Try, but I wouldn't bother.
Yeah, you can try.
You can. Depends what you want to grow off.
You don't know what you're getting.
You don't
Well,
know.
yeah. But
Unless it's
if
an
you just
heirloom
wanna try-
variety.
I mean, it's great for kids if they want to do it stuff. You just cut a slice, pop it in a plant pot.
Yeah.
You get loads of tomatoes. If you don't want to spend money, and you're watching this and you're thinking, I'd like to grow some tomatoes in the garden, but you don't want to, it's not a hobby as such. Then I don't see why not. But you don't know what variety you're getting.
Yeah,
but,
you don't know what you're getting. Yeah,
garden centre.
We're all looking for the sparkly colours and the stars on the sides, and Robin's there dealing us out.
It does work. But, if you just want
much better to spend 2 or 3 quid, aren't you, in a garden centre on a pack of seeds? You know what you're going to get. But because if you get an F1 out of a supermarket, you don't know if you're going to get the one that was put in for lovely green leaves, and you get no tomatoes, or you might get the tiny tomato with no flavour. You're much better to get some seeds.
Yeah. Jean Hellowell, you have to mention it, don't you? Jean, I'm not asking for seed from Danny either. I would love some Heinz. Jean, I will send you some Heinz. Oh, Chris, do you want some Heinz?
Yeah, I know you said they're fantastic.
Yeah,
I'll send.
Count me in.
Well, being Chris,
only want 2.
Linda, I tell you what, Linda, I'll give you some. I tell you what, Linda, you give me £6 postage, right? And I'll send it to you, and I can make that money back off then. No, I'll send out some Heinz 1350, and Jean, I'll pop them in yours with your dibber. You are having a dibber.
I know I'll get avocados or something,
yeah, you'll get something.
Slight size difference,
yeah. So, So I hope we've answered as many questions we can tonight. It's been a 2-hour live, but the same as last year's. It was going to go crazy. If you've got a
subject,
so just to let you know, Heinz 1350, you can buy them on eBay, and they're also from Premier Seed. So if you do want to buy some, you can get them. I would honestly highly recommend if you're doing canning or you want like a nice salad tomato and all. They're beautiful. Heinz 1350.
They get the biggie double thumbs up.
And even Steve said he likes them with gritted teeth. I promise you, you will love them. They're very underrated, and it's such a shame because they're brilliant tomato. I'm going to order another packet now before you lot will get on there and sell them out, because that happened last year. I told them all about those Brad's Atomics. I went on it to order them, and it said sold out. I thought, you plonker.
You know what, though? Isn't it great that we can all learn? Because I've learned a few things there tonight, and I've been growing tomatoes for years, but I'm really interested in that too. That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, thanks, Steve.
Yes.
Let's hope, yes.
Well, I hope you've all taken something from it anyway. And someone has said 2 cup is an American thing that doesn't seem to have travelled over there.
But it's interesting.
There you go.
I always thought 2 cups was an underwear garment, but there you are.
Oh.
Steve. Well, if you would have seen Annie last week, you would have thought that as well. I mean, Jesus. I tell you what, honest to God, I had a fright in my life. I put my laptop on. I was in work, and I was trying to show one of the nurses. She was looking at some of my work, and Annie's picture came up, and she said, "What's that on there?" I said, "It's not what you think it is." And then I made it worse by saying, "It's a friend of mine who's got a YouTube channel, and she did naked garden." She went, "Oh, so that's not what I was thinking at all, to be honest." But you made it worse. So yeah.
Sometimes it's better to keep your mouth shut and look a fool than to open it and remove all doubt.
Subscribe to Steve's channel. That's his motto. So if you've all got a YouTube channel or you've got Instagram, type in capitals now. Jane's already copied and pasted it ready.
Debs has already put hers
Debs has thrown it in. I wouldn't expect nothing more. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming on tonight. Thank you, Chris, as always. Chris, dare I say it? We've got one more live next week now, but I feel like we might do like a monthly one. And I would like one later on, Chris, with you, where we talk about your update with your tomatoes, and and maybe we'll have a few videos or something of you showing around your tunnel and stuff, or your varieties. As for you, Linda's in there. Look, Linda, YouTube. God, Linda, honest to God, like you don't have enough publicity as it is. God. Thank you so much, everyone. Robin, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much from everyone on YouTube, Robin. We generally do, from the bottom of our hearts, all the seeds you send and all, and to Ali and all the others. Because without you, we wouldn't have those varieties. We'd be all doing the gardeners delight. So we We are. Thank you so much for breaking the law for us, Robin.
You're welcome.
You shouldn't be using their name. No.
Sorry.
Out there now.
Sorry, thank you, Cassandra, for sending us the seeds. If you do end up going to prison, Cassandra, we will all send you a parcel, all right?
Of seeds.
I know. But I really do get excited though when I see that parcel and I see that little postage stamp on it. I think
happy post.
It's like it's like Christmas and you don't know what's inside.
My postman actually says to me now, "You've got another parcel from Canada or from America or whatever." Yeah.
So thank you so much, everyone, for coming on. I hope you've took something from it. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Jane, for coming on. Jane, you're on next week again, aren't you?
Okay.
I mean, are you on next week, Jane? Yeah.
I think I am.
So next week is the last one. We've got Garden of Emma on, Kerry from Dog and the Plot, Jane Kelly, and maybe you, Linda. We've got you as a question mark. We're going to see how you are, and Linda.
Oh,
he's there
in the background. A question
anyway.
mark?
I'm happy to be in the background. I don't mind.
Yeah, but we'll Linda, you're mainly on anyway. I throw you in every live, so. But Linda, you're always welcome. You
I only
know that.
watch to see Linda.
Who doesn't?
Oh, that's nice, Steve. Thank you.
Steve, you need better hobbies, honest to God.
I know, yeah. My long winter nights are petering out now. Soon be spring.
Honest to God. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming on.
Okay.
Steve, sorry, mate, I didn't say thank you for coming on as well. Steve, do you want to say some wise words before you go? So thank you so much, everyone, for watching.
Don't do that to him.
You're so mean.
Funny.
Every
time, Steve. If they could see our private chats, honest to God, it'd make.
No, they probably don't, Danny.
No, they don't. Oh, it's all banter anyway. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Next week is the last of the live, so definitely come and stay tuned for that. And then there will be one probably every month or so. But yeah, and we'll even have like Jane Kelly for an whole hour on a live. I mean, woo!
I'll make sure I do a salad next week, so don't go cold.
There you are. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and we'll all give a wave now, and we'll all see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Are we still live?
Yeah, we are.
Oh.
We are.
35 minutes later, my hand's aching.